computer technology has been moving in a way that nothing else people have ever known.
Greetings, Special Centurions, and welcome, YouTube Warriors, back to the succession of changing kings. I was umming and erring about whether or not we'd be doing a third episode of this, when the second episode randomly blew up on the channel. It's gotten a whole load of views and a whole load of likes, and so because of that I decided, yeah, why not? I am enjoying it very much. Let's give it one more stab, give it one more run, and see if we can progress for longer than a week. I do enjoy this game. It is a lot of fun. I enjoy the choices elements of the game, the story arc elements, and the writing is pretty entertaining. Plus it's voice acted, so you don't have to worry about reading it aloud too much, or at all even, which is fantastic. So I do enjoy a lot of it, but obviously with it being Iron Man or permadeath or whatever you want to call it, it is extremely punishing and just relies on... The result of that is it relies on trial and error, rinse and repeat, roguelike style replay procedures, which, as many of you may know, I'm not really a big fan of. So yeah, this might be the last episode of the succession of changing kings we try in early access, until the developer at the very least brings out some kind of easier mode where there's an autosave feature every week or so, or something that allows you to save so that you don't have to go all the way back and lose all the progress every time you die, which can happen randomly out of nowhere when you're just doing something simple like exploring a corridor. So yeah, if you are having a good time, guys, and you want to see more of this, be sure to smash that like button or leave a comment in the section down below letting me know. It gives me not only does it help out the channel a huge amount with the YouTube algorithm, which of course is a monster we're always constantly battling, but it would also give me an idea that you as an individual want to see more of this game, and therefore gives me a better idea of whether it's worth streaming or not. So yeah, we're going to be diving in and starting a brand new game and seeing how far we can get. Thus far, we haven't made it past. We haven't even got to the point where we've managed to get an informer, which is the person who tells us how each faction feels about us, which is resultant on the decisions we make and the choices we make. That takes about a week to get, and we haven't even got that far yet because we keep dying and starting over. So yeah, we're going to be aiming to get in the informer as quickly as possible, which will give us a better idea of our standing with all the different factions. That'll be the first objective, and we'll go from there and see if we can survive. So let's start a new game. It saves my name as Caesar because it knows me, so let's carry on.
Covered with the dust of oblivion, 5 kings are mentioned, each of whom reigned for no more than 444 days. This was the exact amount of time needed for each contender to complete the path to coronation, a peculiar tradition rooted in the sacred texts. This period became known as the succession of changing kings. A once prosperous kingdom had withered into a decaying fiefdom. Fields that had yielded bountiful harvests were now overgrown with weeds. Trade caravans had all but vanished, and the finest of its people had abandoned their homeland in search of a better future. Few dared to hope that you, the last of an ancient dynasty, would succeed in breaking this vicious cycle. The wise patriarch went to the throne of light to pray for you. Before leaving, the patriarch vowed to return in exactly 444 days to preside over your coronation. Until then, you will remain a Dauphin, a mere shadow of a future king. As you ascended the throne, the sky above the castle was gray and gloomy. Doubt swirled around you, denser than the clouds overhead. But somewhere in the depth of your mind, a thought flickered. Your fate has not been sealed yet. Time loomed over you like an unrelenting weight, but one chance remained. The only chance to prove that you were more than just another failure on the throne, to show that you were the one who could restore the light and glory of the kingdom. Break the succession of changing kings at any cost. Survive to be crowned king.
And that, of course, is the crux of the matter chat. That is the pinnacle that we're aiming for, just to survive to become king. So it hasn't done the tutorial where normally the guy comes and talks our ear off because we already know the game. We're just going to dive straight in and do a couple of these decisions. 3 eyes, twist of the wrist, and a bit of trickery. That's the guy who nicks your wallet. There's no saddest story in the world. That one's difficult. Lost in the woods, we don't know the answer to yet. Curb your appetite. I think we need to do the Harvest Festival first, and then probably curb your appetite. Yeah, let's do the Harvest Festival first.
The Harvest Festival. A gusty wind sweeps away the oppressive summer heat as golden autumn approaches. You pause in a village conveniently nestled between the Bay of Storms and golden wheat fields. Farmers busily load wagons with freshly harvested crops, buzzing around like hefty honeybees. The village elder approaches with a bow. After lamenting the hardships of rural life, he earnestly requests your assistance in organizing the Harvest Festival, a centuries-old tradition marking the end of the harvest season. We have not seen meat since winter, and as for ale, well, let's not even speak of it, he says with a sigh.
It's been so long since I've been drunk, chat. I don't know what to do. Please, your majesty, give me a cask of ale. Get away from me, you stinky drunk. Kick him in the face. Right, let's throw a celebration they will remember for centuries. Send a troop of buffoons instead. We will save on food and drink. There's no time for merriment. Okay. I don't know what the troop of buffoons does. It probably doesn't make them happy. We're just going to we're going to throw a celebration because that just spends initiative. Actually, no, wait. We need our initiative to be high to be able to get the informer. Well, I'm going to try and send this troop of buffoons and see what that does. Oh, we just lost an initiative.
The buffoons arrived with a modern performance, but many simply did not understand it. The king's attention was appreciated, but attention does not fill stomachs.
So we didn't get anything and we still lost an initiative. I think if you throw them a feast, you lose 2 initiative, but you gain +1 with the peasants, so it may have been worth doing that. That may have been the worst of the 2 choices. Anyway, let's curb our appetite.
Curb your appetite. For centuries, tradition dictated that taxes in the northeastern lands stretching from the Satir Mountains to the Shadow Valley, were collected by the army stationed in Okor, a fortress perched on the border between your kingdom and the Duchy of Thorn. The residents of these lands, simple peasants and artisans, had grown accustomed to this arrangement. The army provided protection and in return collected annual taxes set by the king himself. But times have changed. After a series of weak monarchs with diminishing authority, the army began to take greater liberties. What was once an annual duty transformed into a quarterly burden. The people could not replenish their stores quickly enough and struggled to feed their families. Smoldering resentment erupted into open rebellion. The commoners united under the leadership of a former blacksmith named Gorman, a man of both strong hands and an even stronger will. "We will no longer feed their bloated bellies," Gorman proclaimed at a gathering in an old barn that served as the rebels' temporary headquarters. "Let them work the fields themselves if they want our bread. We will pay taxes only to the king, as it should be. No middlemen, no greedy collectors from Okor." Word of the rebellion spread swiftly across the northeastern lands and beyond. People defied the soldiers and even clashed with them directly. The army found itself in a precarious position, unwilling to use force against the people for fear of inciting a larger uprising. Gorman and his followers sent envoys to the royal court, demanding justice. Their appeal was straightforward: restore the old system and allow the commoners to pay taxes directly to the crown, bypassing the avaricious collectors in Okor. Upon hearing of the revolt, you grasped the gravity of the situation. This was not just about taxes, it was about authority. If you acquiesce to the commoners' demands today, they will learn that force can achieve their goals. And this will not sit well with the army, nor with many others.
So this is a really difficult choice. I think we're going to do the traditions as sacred, but the army needs to be reined in. Taxes may only be collected once a year. That'll probably piss everyone off, but that's the most fair choice out of all of them, I believe. Let's try it.
For the residents of the Shadow Valley, this matter was about more than money. It was about dignity. While you return some funds, the proud peasants will not forget your injustice. The army, while displeased by reduced revenue, was willing to tolerate it.
Okay, so we gained one initiative and we lost one standing with the peasants. That's not bad, I guess. Oh yeah, we can't build anything yet because we've only got 5 initiative. Go to the throne room.
The butler's advice.
Yeah, this guy just advised. We basically have to decide who of the 4 factions we want to meet with first. Or alternatively, if we don't want to meet with anyone, I think that probably gives you initiative. I'm going to meet with a general because that gives you the king's guard. And I believe that's quite helpful in like assassination attempts and things like that later on down the line. So it also gives you +1 military might, or +1 relations with the military.
Reliance on the army.
He comes and shows up. The general shows up. You have a drink with him. And, oh, he gives you something different.
It is, of course, reassuring to have an ally like Bardarian. Yet you cannot shake the thought that your uncle Anzabald was coldly beheaded by the very general of his own army.
Okay, so it's not always the same reward, because last time he got us the Royal Guard for seeing him first. This time he's given us a fencing instructor. A master fencer offers invaluable training, sharpening the reflexes of both guards and their ruler. -1 initiative every 2 turns. But I guess it does something else positive.
Stingy and even stingier. In the early days of your reign, news arrived of the death of Igar Pagan, a notorious miser aristocrat.
Okay, so this guy had a whole lot of money when he died and wanted to be buried with him, so that he never had to see it. They never got paid out to anyone, including his ancestors. Not his ancestors, his relatives. Sorry. So they're asking you to make a decision on what happens to the funds that were buried. We can either send it to the common people. We can give it to the army so they can build fortifications and train more soldiers with it, which obviously gives you good standing with the military. You can donate it for the construction of a new monastery. That obviously makes you better standing with the church. You can distribute the wealth among the noble relatives. That makes you happy amongst the aristocrats. Or you could take the treasure for yourself, which will give you lots of initiative, I believe. I've never tried this top one, but I'm going to try it now because I want the initiative to be able to build an inn and then buy an informer as quickly as possible. So we're going to do that.
A perfectly reasonable decision.
Wow.
To your surprise, the numerous relatives voiced no significant objections.
Okay, so the top one is the best option by far. It gives you no negatives at all and you get +3 initiative. That's really cool.
If the
So we're going to
stars
have to
are
do
low-
that from now on, guys, for definite. Okay, so the stars are lit. You see a shooting star when you're standing on the balcony. You just wonder how people will interpret it.
Many witnessed the falling star tonight.
they saw it as a good
and
omen.
saw it as a good omen for the start of the new king's reign. However, there were also those who believed this reign would be as brilliant and fleeting as the star's descent.
So we've now actually got 9 initiative, which is really good. It's enough to build the inn on the first turn, I think. Yeah, oh no, the inn's 12. It's the forge we can build, okay. Let's just see what's down here. Employee, King's Royal Guard. Yeah, that's what we got last time. This time, though, we've got a fencing instructor, although I don't see him anywhere here. So, oh, he's here. Oh, it takes a turn before he kicks in as well, okay. Well, we can't build the inn yet, so let's just end the turn. Okay, the Royal Hunt we're probably going to do... Actually, no, that's the one where the bear appears and attacks you. Inspection and Lucor, let's do that first. All of these are quite bad. Actually, Trapped in the Snow I know how to handle fairly well, so let's try that. Trapped in the Snow.
Trapped in the snow. Of all the fortresses in your kingdom, you liked Acre the least.
Oh, cool. Greetings, Your Majesty. Hello, welcome to the stream. Sorry, you're going to have to tell me how to pronounce your name. Is it Anthony, by any chance? Is that Greek, the lettering? Greek or something like that? I can't read your name, so I can't say who you are, but welcome. Thank you for joining. I've seen you in a couple of streams. Dimitri. Nice. Welcome, Dimitri. Nice to meet you, and thank you for joining. Welcome. We're just getting started here, so whoops, I didn't mean to click that. I meant to click that.
On one side, it
just
was
getting
battered
started
by
here,
the
so
cold
kick back and
winds of
relax.
the dark ocean, and on the other, it was hemmed in by the Satyr Mountains, perched in a narrow isthmus. Akor's massive gray walls and clumsy wooden barracks bristled against the world, a reminder of centuries spent defending the kingdom from the once mighty realm of Thorn, now reduced to a small and defenseless duchy. Yet despite the unrest currently brewing in Thorn, this was not the topic of your meeting with Bardarian. Akor was the domain of the army, just as Cherry Island belonged to the aristocracy and Argendor to the church. Today, Bardarian presented a plan for military reform. For the first 2 hours, you found his presentation engaging. The head of your army was far more animated than, say, Holy Father Lumiel or Countess Ordvinchel. But as the endless numbers and statistics piled up, your eyelids grew heavy, and your yawns became so obvious that even the seasoned general could not fail to notice. The awkward moment was interrupted by a messenger bursting into the council chamber with urgent news. In the Satyr Mountains, at the Caridon Crossroads, a large caravan from Kokeo had become trapped in a snowstorm. Typically, merchants from this country transported their goods through Thorn, crossing the bridge over the chasm to Acre, or less often via routes near the Reinhard fortress. However, the unrest in Thorn and the bandits active in the forest near Reinhard had led them to choose what they believed was a safer path. Their wagons and carts carried valuable goods, sturdy armor for the army, spices and honey for the aristocracy, and unfinished jewelry intended for the church's religious trinkets. A decision was needed immediately. Without help, the caravan would likely freeze in the mountains.
First choice, like the last time, says Dimitri. Yeah, I think that's a good choice. Out of all of them, this is the best option, so we're going to go with that. I believe that's the best option anyway.
The general bowed and left to assemble his troops. Bardarian had previously mentioned that the army dislikes being used for tasks unrelated to war or the kingdom's defense. But in this case, he remained silent, likely because he was personally invested in ensuring the caravan's safe arrival. However, the mission was far from easy. Winter was already in full force in the mountains, and by the time the frostbitten troops arrived, the caravan's merchants were barely holding on. There were no fatalities, but the harsh conditions left dozens of soldiers with frostbitten hands and feet, rendering them unfit for battle.
Okay, so we gained 3 initiative, 1 standing with the aristocrats, 1 standing with the church. We lost 0.5 defense, and we lost 1 standing with the army. But we had 1 standing with the army as well from meeting the general first before meeting anyone else. So I believe it now stands at -1 with the commoners, 0 with the military, +1 with the aristocracy, and +1 with the church, and now we've got enough initiative to build the inn, which is great. These are all not good, so I'm going to do inspection and Lucor. These can all lead to the twist of the wrist and a bit of trickery won't lead to death, but we lose initiative for doing it because he steals your wallet. Lost in the woods can lead to death. Royal hunt can lead to death. A smelly affair we can't do very well until we have another building. The construction, it's the Masons Guild we need to be able to do the one I'm thinking of. What's it called? A smelly affair. You need the Masons Guild to be able to handle that properly. So we're going to do inspection in Lucor next. This is okay.
You arrive in Lucor for an inspection, determined to personally assess the condition of its fortress and port. Situated in the Bay of Storms, Lucor is perhaps the only settlement that remained unscathed during the era of Changing Kings. Its bustling seaport welcomes dozens of ships daily from Dalaman, Kokeo, Torn, the 3 nations on the same continent as your own, as well as distant overseas lands. The fortress commander, Roderick Hansen, proudly guides you through the sturdy fortifications and the impeccably trained guard. His eyes shine with pride for his men and the mighty walls safeguarding this vital strategic point. Your Majesty, Roderick says, leading you across the fortress grounds, Lucor is always ready to face any threat. Our fortifications have been upgraded, and the guard trains daily to prepare for any attack. You nod, impressed by his words and the sights before you. The servants and soldiers work in perfect harmony, and the fortress exudes an air of discipline and order. Leisurely, you make your way to the docks, where building materials are being unloaded using wooden cranes. These towering mechanisms, resembling enormous wooden wheels with pulleys and ropes, hoist heavy cargo from ships to the shore. Suddenly, you notice one of the ropes snapping, threatening to send a stack of crates crashing down onto unsuspecting bystanders below. Time is of the essence.
We tried the second last time, if I remember correctly. Yep, that's absolutely right. Last time we tried to desperately shout a warning. I'm not going to pretend you did not notice anything. I am willing to try this time to see what happens, but I'm pretty certain it's going to result in our death. So we can rush forward trying to push people out of harm's way. If we succeed, we'll probably push them out of the way and gain +1 with the common folk. But if we fail, we're probably going to die and get crushed by the cargo. However, it's early enough days, although the run is going really well with the money we got. Should we try number 1, Dimitri? How lucky are you feeling? We know what happens if you desperately shout a warning. It fails and the person gets killed and nothing happens. You basically don't get any negative modifiers because no one really blames you. You tried but didn't try hard enough. If we rush forward, you might get something beneficial if you succeed, but then we may also die on day 4 and have to restart. I'm willing to try the top one to see what happens, to try and get some benefit out of this. Well, no risk, no fun. Yeah, exactly. No risk, no fun, and also no reward. So let's go for the top one.
Smashed to a pulp.
Caesar the brainless.
You could have stayed out of
course.
But at that moment, you had no doubts. Your sense of duty to your subjects and your courage prevailed. Or perhaps it was sheer recklessness. You dashed toward the scene, shouting for everyone to clear the area. Look out! Your voice rang like thunder, prompting people to scatter in every direction.
Yeah,
But
we
one
predicted
worker,
that.
a young man, was caught in the danger zone, unable to escape in time. You grabbed his arm and yanked him hard, trying to shove him to safety. At that exact moment, the rope gave way completely, and the massive crate crashed on top of you, both with a deafening thud. The crate landed with a shattering crash, crushing you beneath its weight. The remnants of your unfortunate head lingered on the dockside for quite some time before they could be cleaned away. History, unsurprisingly, immortalized you as the Brainless King.
The brainless king, that's so funny. Oh, I should have never have gone there. Try to be more careful next time, you're brainless.
Across the kingdom, with every region
Okay, let's restart. So, with the game, it seems, will always give you, not always, but it seems like the option where you die is pretty kind of, it's not always clear, but if the option seems like you're going to die, you're more than likely going to die. So the subjects are pricks. Yeah, they all are. It's like they don't care that it was not like it wasn't Caesar the brave or Caesar the courageous or Caesar the considerate, Caesar the thoughtful trying to save someone's life. It's Caesar the brainless for running under a fucking box. So it's very much fend for yourself and save yourself in this game. Right, we've restarted. We'll do the Harvest Festival again. We will throw a celebration that we'll remember for centuries, because I want to spend the initiative to get good reputation with the commoners to start. Yeah.
The villagers appreciated your generosity, and the festival was a resounding success.
Yeah, so you gain, if you do that, you lose 2 rather than losing 1, but you also gain 1 with 1 rep or 1 affinity with the commoners, so that's probably worth it. And then we're going to do this one here, the training, because the training, all you have to do is fight the soldier.
The harder the battle.
Even if you just fight the soldier, even if it doesn't go well, and they all respect you for it. Yeah.
It was not as bad as one might have thought. You deflected a series of powerful blows from your opponent quite well, but quickly found yourself out of breath. The lack of training took its toll. In the end, your opponent knelt suddenly and delivered a strong strike to your legs. You fell and decided that was enough. Tomorrow would already involve half a day spent in bed recovering from the blow. Yet no one shamed you for the fight. A king does not need to be the best warrior, but must never fear danger.
Never fear danger, unless it's danger in the form of a falling box, or a ladder that you have to climb down, or getting lost in the woods, or a bear that's mauling your general, or any of the other infinite ways that we've died so far in this game. Amazing. So you got +1 standing now with the commoners, 1 standing with the army. We're going to go to the throne room. We will meet with a general again.
The butler catches.
I want to meet with the general again because I want to see, firstly, if he gives you something different each time. I want to confirm that. And secondly, I want to get our military standing up quite high. +1, so we're now at +2 with the military.
Reliance on the army.
Let's drink to it. Oh no, he gives you a fencer. He gives you a fencing instructor every time, I guess. So who is it who gives you the royal guard? It must be. It's not the aristocrat. She gives you a painting. It must be the church. I guess the church gives you the royal guard if you meet him first. We're going to load up on the miser's treasure and send it to our
perfectly reasonable decision.
To our money
to your
place.
Surprise, the numerous relatives voiced no significant objections.
And yeah, we see a shooting star, and that gives us 1 initiative. Good. Okay, let's end the turn. We're back to where we were, chat, before we decided to push someone out from underneath a falling box. So inspection, Luca will do that one again. We'll desperately shout a warning. You shout almost girlishly,
but it has no effect. The rope snaps under the crate's weight, and it crashes down, killing several workers instantly. The port's operations halt for the entire day, resulting in financial losses.
So we lost 1 initiative. That takes us down to 9, unfortunately. We can curb the appetite, though. And
curb your appetite. For centuries, tradition dictated that taxes in the northeastern lands,
let them pay directly,
from the Satir
or
mountains to the Shadow Valley, were collected by the army stationed in Okor.
We literally just saw this one. We can either let them pay directly, that'll give us +1 standing with the commoners, but then the army will get pissed off. Or we could do that. The army needs to be reined in. Taxes may be collected once a year. Yeah.
For the residents of the Shadow Valley, this matter was about more than money. It was about dignity. While you return some funds, the proud peasants will not forget your injustice. The army, while displeased by reduced revenue, was willing to tolerate it.
Proud peasants. They're fucking commoners. Proud. Who cares if they're proud? They're fucking peasants. Get back to work, you lazy peons. The maze to nowhere. Put the portrait back and seal the hole. You don't get anything beneficial out of that. Merely a piece of iron. Yes, let them search without involvement. Yeah. You find the meteorite. Okay, silver lining.
Silver lining.
This is the one where the peasants have all found silver ore on the land of the aristocrat, and the aristocrat demands that they give it back. and he wants to carry on mining the silver, and you have to decide what to do. Mine is hereby seized as royal property. That will piss both of them off, but it'll give me loads of initiative, so I'm actually going to do that one again. Oh, jeez.
The mine turned out to be extraordinarily rich, enabling you to implement your projects more swiftly. That is, of course, if the common folk do not hang you from the nearest tree, or the aristocrats do not strangle you on their own.
Yeah, that's... So we've got, like, -1 rep with the commoners now, I think. Maybe 1 or 0 with the army, -2 with the aristocracy, and 0 with the church. But we do have 16 initiative, chat, which means we're going to be able to build this fucking inn on the first turn or the second turn, and then get an informer as quickly as possible with any luck. Because then we can see what's going on with people. What would General Bardarian do? We're going to do that one. And we're going to execute the soldier to set an example. Yeah.
This is exactly what General Bardarian would have done. A soldier on duty is responsible for the safety of the entire kingdom. The offender can only wash away the army's shame with his blood.
So the army's happy with us, but the commoners are not. I think we're at -2, +2, -2, 0. We need to do Matters of the Port next, I think. What's this? Lost in the Woods and the Royal Hunt. Both are the same. Let's do Matters of Port. Both are dangerous, I mean. So let's do Matters of Port and stay away from danger.
Matters of the Port. The capital's docks welcome incoming ships with their clean quayside, bright orange tiled roofs.
We haven't done this one yet, I don't
and
think.
The scent of 1,000 spices. It is nothing like the usual expectations of a trading port, with its drunkards, the aroma of stale sweat, and the colorless vomit splashing onto cobblestones after days of being tossed about on the waves. The credit for the pristine state of the capital's waterfront lies with the old aristocratic family of House Nightingale. They own most of the buildings and warehouses in the port. However, this cleanliness comes at a steep cost. Local merchants pay exorbitant rents, additional levies, and endure the absence of the city guard. By decree of King Radwin, please forgive me, the city watch no longer patrols the port.
King Radwin, please forgive me. I love it.
This denies them the opportunity to earn a little extra from foreign traders. On the other, it clearly weakens the capital's security. A united group of merchants and city guards has approached you, demanding not only the repeal of House Nightingale's privileges, but also a significant curbing of their excessive demands in the capital's port.
How much can you angry a faction before they decide to off you? I think it's like -3 or 4. You don't want to go too negative, basically. The closer you are to... The more in the negative you are, the more likely it is they'll off you. And I think the highest or... We've got to about 3 or 4 before we've received an assassination... what's it called? Event that we had to try and bypass. We haven't yet survived an assassination event either. Every assassination attempt that has happened to us has succeeded. So, yeah, we're yet to survive one. Okay, so what have we got? Nightingale and those like him are the backbone of this kingdom. Begone, do not trouble me with such nonsense again. That's probably not good. Nightingale has the right to set such rents, but may he not even think of restricting city guards? That'll obviously please the army. What does this pompous aristocrat think of himself? All his property is hereby seized by the crown, and the city guard will begin patrolling the port today. Nightingale is managing well, but the crown will compensate you for your inconveniences. We've got quite a lot of initiative, so I'm going to compensate them. Yeah.
Your noble ancestors neglected the port's issues for far too long, and rushing to solve them now would only cause harm. Undoubtedly, Nightingale has done an excellent job for the glory of the kingdom, though primarily for his own benefit. His motives are understandable, but over time, all control over the port must gradually return to the crown. Today is not that day. Merchants will be exempt from royal taxes for 1 year, and the soldiers will receive a bonus. We will revisit this matter soon.
Yeah, so that next time we'll have the opportunity to seize the port from him, and it won't have such a negative effect, I reckon. This time, though, we got +1 on the commoners, +1 on the military. We lost 4 initiative, but we had 10, so that's fine. But the biggest problem is we lost 0.5 security for some reason. I don't know why. If anything, we should have gained security because the... what's it called? The military are receiving a bonus. Yeah, there. The soldiers will receive a bonus. So you think they'd be happier and fight better, but whatever. Maybe that. Oh god, the castle's on fire again, chat. Why does our castle keep catching on fire? We could... Oh, the inn... Do we have the inn? One every turn, yeah. We could have built the... if we hadn't have paid them, we could have got the informer. But we would actually not enough, because we need some initiative left to be able to handle choices and decisions. So let's do the throne room. Yes, we are on fire.
We are on fire. Your butler woke you in the middle of the night, just a couple of hours.
If we help those affected, is that us personally helping them? I hope not. We're going to have to help those affected, but I don't know. I hope it's not us running into the fire or something stupid like that.
Oh.
No, it's just cost, okay.
The very next day after the fire, dozens of workers hastily recruited from the port arrived at the site. The local nobility was pleasantly surprised. The workers quickly cleared the rubble while an enhanced guard detail watched over the salvaged belongings. Although the nobles will have to rebuild their homes themselves, no one expected such a generous gesture from the new king. The aristocrats were genuinely impressed.
Okay, so we're spending all the initiative that we earned, but... Oh, this is new.
The Red Rooster. A red rooster is the name given to arsonists who leave only ashes and destruction behind.
Oh god, the commoners
Now
have
this
tried
rooster
burning down the
reached your
castle.
What does this even mean, it reached your castle? It must have been one of the castle servants.
Yeah.
You neglected the common people for so long, they must have decided to act.
So long, it's been like 2 days.
Someone set fire to the corridor leading to your quarters. The fire already engulfed the wood paneling, the flames roaring, greedily devouring everything in its path. Smoke fills the air, choking you. Your eyes sting unbearably. You begin to suffocate. Several guards lie in the corridor, either stunned or swallowed by the smoke. Every minute counts. You hear servants shouting and feet stomping. The fire is moving too fast, and the only way out is to run. But where? A decision must be made immediately.
Several guards lie in the corridor. What the fuck were they doing? If there's several guards in the corridor, how did none of them notice the fire until it got to the point where, in this massive fucking chamber, they're all choking to death and suffocating and unconscious? What the fuck were they doing? Playing tiddlywinks? Jesus, these guards are fucking... Everyone in this kingdom is fucking useless and a complete fucking dick. They've already burnt down my castle when I was like 3 days into it, like a week into it, and we were only like -2, maybe -3 with the common folk. How did they fucking even set a fire that big? What were the guards doing? Fucking hell, everyone here is a complete moron. You want to go right, Dimitri? Okay, let's run to the right.
Got out of the flames.
Hey, good shout. Well done.
Gasping and coughing, you rushed to the nearest exit, where there seemed to be the least flames. The fire roared like an angry tiger, and the heat burned your skin even through the thick fabric of your clothes. You covered your mouth with your hand and staggered forward, making a desperate leap. One wrong step, and your foot almost fell into the burnt boards. Salvation was closer than you thought. You made it to the next corridor, where the guards threw a wet cloak over you. "Your Majesty, are you all right?" Rocklu exclaimed. "Hail Lord Lumen." As you watched the flames devour the royal chambers, you realized one thing. The castle was not as safe as it seemed.
Yeah, hire some new fucking guards. Some guards that actually do their job and have eyes in their head, and ears, and fucking noses. Just general senses around them. Get to work on repairs right away. No, find someone who you can trust to guard you, you fucking idiot. Several servants died in the fire, and this cooled the dashing heads. Oh, that's lucky.
And this cooled the dashing heads.
So this is the first assassination attempt that we've ever survived in this game, chat.
Merely a piece of iron?
Okay, so in this one, the iron that or the metal that you people found from the shooting star is given to the blacksmith, and he works on it for several hours, and then comes back to you and tells you that it's just a normal piece of metal. But then he ends up dying later that night for some reason, like mysteriously dead. So we can either lock the fragment away or dispose of it. Thus far, was it the first? Well, so far we've only done the first because we think it's probably the best option. We want to lock it away and see if we can do something with it in the future. But we haven't actually got that far in the game yet. We haven't got far enough to find out whether or not locking it away is the right decision. We're going to stick with it for the moment because I'm greedy and I want to see if it leads somewhere good. So we're going to lock it away.
The strange cosmic
Perhaps it will
metal,
be of use one
which may have
day.
caused
Yeah,
the
maybe.
blacksmith's death.
Okay, so
Holy Father's only weakness.
this is the one where we're playing chess. Let's attack now. It doesn't really make a difference, but you lose the game either way. But if you attack, you gain 1 rep with the church. If you defend, you lose a rep with the church. So we're going to take the attack and take the rep. We're going to end the turn. Right, we need an informer now, because I can't remember what any of these are. We need money. 8. Looking for the blacksmith, romantics of the high road, a tinker on the road, lost in the woods, twist the wrist of trigger, trapped in the snow. Let's do trapped in the snow, because we know how to handle that one fairly well.
In the snow.
We're going to do that one.
The general bowed and left to assemble his troops.
And then we're going to look for the blacksmith, because we've done that one as well. And there's a drunk blacksmith we can come and collect. Clean him up and bring him to the capital, which means we get a forge.
A week later,
Nice. Let's go to the throne room.
Minor ailment.
We've ended up sick. This is RNG, I think, whether or not you survive. Yeah, you do.
You recovered.
We recovered. We survived the illness. Let's get back to work. We lost 2 initiative, unfortunately, because we were a week bedridden,
losing the most precious,
which is a shame.
Murder of the pawnbroker.
Oh, okay, I know this one. The pawnbroker has been murdered, and you have to decide what to do with him. This is a hard decision, because it's hard to know what the result will be, but judging by what the people say, he rid our society of a vile creature. Release him immediately is going to annoy everyone. Day 14, what is our record so far? Do you know, I can't even remember, Dimitri. That's why I'm trying to get the informer as quickly as possible, because I literally can't remember what we're on now. We're going to let the court... We're going to stick with the court's verdict. Okay.
The church greatly valued your trust in their principles, and the court, made up predominantly of commoners, admired your resolve to stand up to the nobility. The aristocracy, of course, was displeased. However, you cannot please everyone. You will only hurt yourself.
Yeah, well, if I don't please everyone, someone else will hurt myself. So I need to try it.
No good deed goes unpunished.
Oh, we've got these Red Hoods, I remember. So this is like a cult or something that's popped up in the town. In the town centre, there's like a cult of red hooded people. We can either let the people practice their charity, leave them be. Yeah, do not intervene for now, but we're going to keep them under surveillance, I think. Actually, we could do number 4 as well. We could do... All of them are feasible, but I think out of all of them, the best options are maybe 2 or 4. They are suspicious. Yeah, they are, aren't they? I think we send word to the church so they can investigate what's going on. Yeah, such matters as their divine jurisdiction. That seems like the best option. Yeah, the 4th one? Yeah, we'll try that.
The Holy Father Lumio warmly thanks you for contacting him first. He is also aware of the cult's appearance and seems quite concerned. He promises to gather as much information as possible about the new cult as quickly as he can.
Yeah, good. Okay, well, unfortunately we don't quite have enough to get the informer again, because we keep bleeding fucking initiative each turn. But hopefully next turn we'll have enough. That's a beautiful picture. That's gorgeous. Okay, so now we've got 16 initiative. I'm going to get... Oops, I didn't mean to go to the tavern. No, don't go to new game. Oh god, cancel. Escape, escape. Oh, bollocks. Oh shit, chat. Can I return? No, I can't. We have to start a new game. Oh no, you can save it. What? Oh yeah, we just started a new game. Shit. There's no way to back out of that. I meant to click continue and I clicked new game. So I just fucking killed us and restarted us anyway. God damn it, chat, this game. There was no way out of it, I promise. Right, let's do this one first because we did that first last time. Matters in the port. We will do...
Matters of the port.
Should we do the same option or should we try a different one in this one? This is the Nightingale one. Well, premature death. Yeah, I fucking killed myself, Dimitri. I was so fed up of everyone's shit, I just went and hung myself. I was like, fuck this, I'm out of here. Committed seppuku on the fucking streets of the on the steps of the castle. Happens to the best of us. Yeah, so does falling down ladders. Stylio, how you doing, mate? Welcome to the stream. Good to see you. We are going to do the bottom one again. Yeah.
Your noble ancestor.
This one we will... Okay, so I'm going to see the king this time. Not the king, the church. To see what he gives us. Because I think you get the royal guard out of one of them, but I can't remember whom.
Much of what you
it's either the army, but the army keeps giving us a fencing instructor. So I think it's the Holy Father. So he gives you that. No, he gives me an orphanage. What the fuck? Where did we get the... They must have changed it.
However, it is well known that public baths protect against disease far better than even the strongest prayer.
I don't know. Maybe it's RNG what you get when you see one of them. We're going to take the treasure again. We're going to see how people interpret it, and that's the end of the first turn. Curb your appetite. Trapped in the snow will do again. Barbarian, go and deal with that. Harvest Festival, it's expensive. Curb your appetite. Which one was that one again? Oh, that was the one with the taxes.
Curb your appetite.
Yeah, traditions are sacred. Cool. Okay, now we go to the throne room. Put the portrait up and seal the hole. Merely a piece of iron. Let them search without my involvement. This time we've got enough initiative to actually buy the inn without having to take the mine. So I might do something different because I reckon it was this one that led them to setting the fire that we happened to get out of, luckily, by running to the right in our last life. So keep the silver. The nobleman has the right to terminate the lease. Yes, the common folk keep their silver. The nobleman terminates the lease and keeps the mine. Let's try that one. I think the second one is what we went with in the last episode of the series, and it got us the best like natural net profit or whatever. Yeah, fine.
Deep down, the common folk understood that keeping the mine was too good to be true. They accepted your decision with
yeah. Fuck the aristocracy. Fuck the aristocracy. Right, King's Throne. Build an inn immediately. Return. End the turn. We're going to do these two. Let's do business and yo-ho-ho and a bottle of rum. We haven't seen yo-ho-ho and a bottle of rum in a while, but it's really sad, that one. Let's do business first.
Let's do business. With the last trading ship came news that smugglers...
So, the law is the law. You'll all go to prison. We've never done, but I don't think it's a good option, sending everyone there to prison, because you'll lose aristocracy and commoner reputation. We're going to take a cut, because then we get money.
The smugglers began sending you regular financial gratitude, but the aristocrats were less than forgiving.
Yeah, the aristocrats are probably going to assassinate me next turn. Yo-ho-ho and a bottle of rum.
Yo-ho-ho and a bottle of rum. In your youth, you loved reading adventure novels, often featuring pirates. In those tales, sea rogues were depicted as merry pranksters and jokers who drank rum, found themselves in ridiculous situations, and then somehow clumsily wriggled out of them. Sometimes they were portrayed as brainless villains, easily outsmarted by the hero. Perhaps such pirates existed somewhere, but certainly not in your kingdom. Recently, you had been receiving reports that, despite the turbulent autumn seas, pirates were raiding coves in the Storm Bay and looting small coastal villages. Today, the elder of Quiet Haven, a small fishing village known for catching fish and crabs, came to you in tears. Your Majesty, it is a disaster. You are our only hope. Those damned villains have taken our villagers captive. Woe upon my gray head. What am I to do now? The old man explained that yesterday pirates had raided the village but did not stop at looting. They had taken half a dozen villagers captive and threatened to sell them into slavery if a hefty ransom was not paid by tomorrow's sunset. The rampage of pirates in your kingdom is a direct result of the kingdom's low defensive capabilities. In any case, you must now decide how to handle this situation.
Yeah, so this one's popped up because our defense is only 3 now. It's dropped by 1.5, which is like 70, not 70%. It's dropped down to like 70% from where it was. So it's lost like 30%. Dimitri wants to do the first one, which is pay the ransom. I think I'm going to do that. Yeah, let's see what happens if you pay the ransom.
At the agreed hour, the elder handed over the ransom, and the pirates kept their word,
Yeah,
releasing the captives.
this is the problem, though.
But who is to say that tomorrow you will not have to pay for the residents of another village?
So the pirates now know that they can just get money from us whenever we want. And our castle's on fire again, chat. We're going to attack now to get church, melee piece of iron, lock the fragment, look the cosmic stuff away. We're on fire, help those affected. That will impress the aristocracy a bit. That'll keep them from murdering us, hopefully. We've got no more initiative, so we end the turn. The Well and the Night Pot. That's a new one. We're going to do that, I think. Oh, these are all new. Castle Mutilations is new as well. We could do Inspection and Lucor again. I want to see what happens if you ignore it, actually. Yeah, I want to see what happens if you pretend you don't notice anything. Because we haven't tried that option yet. We've tried the other two. Obviously, the top one results in your death, like we knew it would. The middle one results in nothing happening because no one hears your scream. If you pretend you don't notice anything, perhaps you don't lose anything. No.
With cold indifference, you watch as the heavy crate falls, crushing several dock workers to death. Screams, panic. You are nearly trampled by the fleeing crowd. The port's operations halt for the entire day, resulting in financial losses. Ever since, you have had recurring nightmares of the crate falling on you, waking up in cold sweat.
Okay, so the best thing to do is try and call out a warning, and then you only lose 1 initiative for it, but you don't know that until you try it. Let's do the Well and the Night Pot. Oh, we have seen this
The Well
one.
and the Night Pot. In recent weeks,
Basically, to sum up, someone keeps appearing and poisoning the well with something that's making everyone sick, giving them all the shits, and the entire town has the shits because this person shows up and dumps something in the well every so often. So you can basically turn a blind eye to it and be like, I've heard that cleansing the body by diarrhea is actually healthy, and you should be boiling your water anyway and just completely wash your hands of it. Or you can get the church to heal them, which we're going to do, which is what we did last time.
Your good relations with the church ensured treatment for hundreds of the afflicted. Whatever they did to the sufferers remains a mystery. But soon enough, everyone recovered.
Fourth,
However,
yeah,
a
exactly,
number of temples
Dimitri.
now
That's the
have an
right choice, I
extremely
think.
unpleasant odor.
Especially since we've got like +4 standing with the church at the moment, or something like that. We had +4. Okay, to the throne room again. Minor ailment.
Minor ailment.
We survived. Get back to work, lose 2 initiative. Murder of the pawnbroker.
Murder of the pawnbroker.
We are going to court the... we're going to keep the court verdict. Oh, here we go. We've been poisoned.
Attempted poisoning. Outside, the rain fell in torrents.
And they hate
Dark
you for
clouds
it. We're
hung
helping
heavily over
people. Yeah, I
Valinor,
know.
casting a somber pall over the realm. The thick, heavy air was laden with the scent of dampness, and raindrops drummed incessantly against the stone walls, creating a monotonous hum. Weary after a grueling day, you requested some warmed wine, hoping it would bring warmth and calm. Your faithful butler, Adrian Morris Holloway, silently fulfilled your request, presenting you with a goblet of the aromatic beverage. Warm steam rose from the wine, filling the air with the spicy aromas of cinnamon and cloves. You took a few sips, savoring the heat that spread through your body, but almost immediately you sensed something amiss. A dull ache began in your chest, then a sharp pain twisted your stomach. Your breathing grew erratic, your hands trembled, and the goblet slipped from your weakening grasp, spilling wine across the floor. Struggling to lift your gaze, you saw Adrian standing nearby. Worry was etched upon his face, and he swiftly rushed to your side, supporting you to prevent you from collapsing. "Your Majesty, what is wrong?" he exclaimed, his voice rising in alarm, a genuine concern breaking through the composure of your ever-calm butler. You could not answer, clutching your abdomen as the pain became unbearable. You mustered the strength for only one phrase.
It doesn't matter, Dimitri, we're dead here. If you drink poison like that, even if you call for a servant of Lumen, you're basically asking for a priest to come and fucking anoint your dead body. Or we could call him a traitor. We'll go for the fourth one, but we're dead either way.
In their final moments, many turn their thoughts to the divine. You were no exception. When the Luminite monk arrived in answer to the call, you lay lifeless in a pool of blood and excrement. Initially, they considered naming you the Excrementato.
The Excrementato.
But the church insisted that such a spiritual individual should be remembered as the Call the Luminites.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, spiritual individual gets called the Illuminates quickly. You dicks. Everyone in this kingdom is a fucking cunt. I hate them all. We're going to burn this kingdom to the ground by the time we're finished with this fucking game. Right, the harder the training, the harder the battle. That one's easy. 3 eyes. No, matters of port. We are going to not compensate them. Compensating them is costing us too much. We're going to try a different option here. Did you say second last time, Dimitri, on this one? The one where the Nightingale is controlling the port and not allowing the soldiers through and ripping everyone off with high rent prices and things. I'm willing to try the second one. You don't remember? No worries. Nightingale and those like him in the back, then this kingdom be gone. No, we're not doing that one. I'm going to do the second one, I think.
Sometimes compromises satisfy no one.
Well, we kept our initiative at least.
Times. The aristocrat expressed strong disapproval of having his rights limited, pointedly reminding you that the port is only the respectable place it is today thanks to his efforts. Meanwhile, the merchants grumbled that since the king didn't fully rein in the overbearing aristocrat, they could soon expect another rent increase. The army, however, was pleased. Still, a 2-to-1 split isn't the kind of outcome you should aim for. If you wish to avoid sharing the fate of King Radwin, please forgive me.
King Radwin, please forgive me. Okay, so that was a bad option in the end, it turns out. Option 2 isn't good in that. Maybe we do, I just have to take it away from the aristocrat. Let's try the general again. I really want to see where we got the royal guard from last time.
Reliance on the army.
We keep getting offensive. They must have updated it and changed it. We're going to keep the treasure because that's just a net 3 initiative. That's an extra 1 initiative. Return. End the turn. Let's do business. Let's try sending everyone to prison this time.
Few could dispute the
Actually, that's not
your
bad at all.
From a legal
I thought that'd be
standpoint.
far worse.
However, 200 citizens suddenly reduced to poverty again would likely see it differently. On the other hand, tax revenues would help offset the losses.
Perhaps the royal guard comes from the aristocracy. Maybe we'll try that next time. I thought she gives you a painting, but maybe I'm misremembering a different event from a different playthrough. The Harvest Festival. We can afford to... No, we can't get them happy. We have to, though, otherwise they'll be pissed off and they'll try setting us on fire again. So let's do that again. That'll balance out what we had before. We'll put the portrait back. Let them search. This one's a hard one.
Silver lining.
Leases for 5 years. The common family continue to use the land and the silver they mine is lawfully theirs. That will piss off the aristocracy. That will piss off the commoners, but please the aristocracy. That will do -1 +1, and that will do -1 -1, but give us loads of initiative. Yeah, we're going to do the second one. Now we can build the inn. Build it, end the turn. So you've got 6 initiative. What would General Bardarian do? Oh, trapped in the snow, actually. Bardarian do that. Lost in the woods, no. Curb your appetite. That's the tax one. Let's do what would General Bardarian do.
What would General Bardarian do?
Let's do 5 years in the dungeon. Let's see what this one does instead, actually, rather than executing him.
Bardarian considered your decision too
Okay.
lenient. He would have executed the scoundrel, but your word is law.
That's not bad. You don't get any negative modifiers or positive. You just just end the event, and the castle's on fire. So it's always on fire at the end of the second week, or the end of the week even. The end of the third turn.
You enter the workshop. Just
Lock it away. We're on fire. Help those affected. Get the aristocracy back on our side. Attack now to increase our standing with the church. Return. End turn. I'm just trying to rush through this because we've seen all this content already. I'm trying to get to the content we haven't seen yet, but we just keep getting owned before we can even get the informer. It's fucking... The difficulty curve on this is really steep, and it's so punishing when you just have to restart. Tinker on the road, Lost in the woods. Okay, let's do Sacred Grove. We haven't seen this one before. This is new.
The Sacred Grove. In the kingdom,
Kerberos, welcome to the stream, mate. How you doing?
Pre-luminous cults are observed.
Just saying hello and leaving a like. No worries. Thank you for the support. I appreciate
The
it.
church tends to turn a blind eye to such practices, considering them a minor concern. One such place is the Foothill Forest near Fort Reinhard. Recently, 2 lumber mills were opened there, sparking outrage among the local population while eliciting delight from the capital's carpenters. Wood from this part of the country is renowned for its unique property of becoming stone-like after prolonged immersion in water. The Foothill Forest is not just a thicket of trees. Its ancient trees reach skyward, their canopies casting dense, nearly impenetrable shade even on sunny days. The forest teems with life. Streams bubble through moss, birds fill the air with songs, and ancient ruins lie half buried under moss and leaves. A reminder of times long past. To the locals, this is not merely a collection of lifeless trees. It is a sacred grove, a place of power and ancient rituals. Your meeting with 2 fervently debating men took place in a small village at the forest's edge, as you were returning from Reinhard. The day was unseasonably bright for autumn. You guided your horse toward the makeshift village square, where the elderly forester Alric and the young aristocrat Ushturin awaited you. Alric approached first. Your Majesty, he began, the Foothill Forest is a sacred grove. For centuries our ancestors worshipped the ancient spirits here. Cutting down this forest is sacrilege and the death of an entire village. Standing nearby, Ushturin listened with a barely perceptible smile on his lips. Tall, with long hair styled in the northern fashion, he stepped forward when Alric finished speaking. His voice was cold and persuasive. Your Majesty, the felling of this forest is a necessary step for the prosperity of our kingdom. The Foothill Forest is rich in resources, and the timber we harvest is vital for construction and the army. Should we cling to old superstitions at the expense of progress? If we listened to people like this forester, we would still be living in caves. A crowd of local villagers had gathered around you. Many sided with Alric, including soldiers from the local garrisons, known for their particular superstitions. Yet there were also those who supported Ushturin, hoping for new jobs and improved livelihoods. The situation was tense, and you needed to make a decision.
The situation is always tense, and I always need to make a decision. So, decision 1. Our kingdom's greatest asset is its people. Value their opinion, noblemen. The forest, option 2. So that's basically siding with the forester and telling off the aristocrat. Option 2. The forest will benefit the entire kingdom, and the sawmills will provide income for the locals. Don't you dare interfere with the logging. Or, I think that sides again with the forester. Yeah, and then option 3, do you really think the king must take care of such small matter? You can settle this without my involvement. Wait, what? Yeah, it's no good option again, but they all seem to side. None of them side with the aristocrat. Am I missing something? The top one is saying value the opinion of the people, nobleman. So it's like chastising the nobleman, the aristocrat. The second one is don't you dare interfere with the logging. Oh, I see. The logging, meaning he's talking to the forester. Even though the forester logs, he's talking to the forester there saying, don't interrupt us logging and cutting down the forest, I think. So the first option is siding with the forester. The second option is siding with the aristocrat. And the third option is pissing them both off and siding with neither. Yeah, the third might piss off everyone. I think we'll piss off the nobleman. We're gonna say value their opinion. We're gonna go for option 1 because fuck the aristocracy.
The pompous aristocrat mumbled something unintelligible, bowed carelessly, and walked away to the whistling of the crowd. And the forester promised to ask for the spirit's blessing for you. His words were met with applause by the people.
Yay! So he did something half decent, I think. I'm not sure. That's kind of neutral net, to be honest. Maybe a -1 net. Yeah, -1 net overall. But I mean, you know, it was an impossible decision that we had no idea how it would, what the outcome would look like. You're from the aristocracy, aren't you? What, the king? Well, no, you're a descendant of the throne, I guess. The priest is going to bestow the crown on in 444 days once he gets back from a pilgrimage. So at the moment you're basically just holding the crown. You're a king holding place until he gets back and officially does the coronation. I can't remember what the word they use for it, but it's in the introduction. If you go back to the introduction video when we first started the playthrough, it uses a specific word beginning with D, but I can't remember what that is right now. But anyway. We're going to do the royal hunt because fuck it, this isn't going that well and there's nothing else to choose. Everything else results in potential death anyway.
The morning
Oh,
was
so that's
clear,
why nobody
and
respects
you
the king.
decided to
Yeah,
embark
yeah,
on
you're not
hunting
actually the
for
king
Aryan.
yet. You're just the
The
king,
royal hunt, meticulously
you're a
prepared by
dauphin
the
or something
court
like that.
falcon
Yeah,
and
it's
Orlo, promised success.
DEUPHIN, a
The forest
dauphin,
held
something
noble
like that.
stags and moose,
Yeah,
and if
well
luck was
remembered.
scarce, foxes and hares would certainly fall to your
Yeah,
end.
exactly. No one
The
respects
air
us because
was
we're not
thick
quite
with the
king
scent of
yet.
damp earth and pine, while fallen leaves crunched pleasantly underfoot. Ancient oaks and hornbeams stretched their mighty trunks and crowns along the eastern trail in the Silvana River. You were joined by several skilled hunters, General Bardarian Edgar Hunter.
Dimitri,
captain
your
of the
English is
Reinhardt
better than
Guard,
mine if you know
and
the word
Roderick
dauphin
Hansen,
and I
the
don't.
commandant of Lucre Fortress.
Well played, sir. Well
As
played.
your group ventured deeper into Briarian, jokes and tales gave way to the discussion of state matters. With his usual bluntness, General Bardarian remarked that damn Dalaman was actively amassing troops. They are pulling soldiers to the border, Bardarian said quietly, stopping his horse to peer intently into the forest. The question is, what for? Edgar Hunter snorted thoughtfully and added, I think it is just another of the Violet Beast games. The Dalamans are very cautious and have not waged war in a long time. Roderick Hansen, whom you had not met personally before this hunt, nodded in agreement and opened his mouth to say something when suddenly a massive bear burst out of the underbrush with a low growl. It moved swiftly and ferociously, heading straight for Bardarian, the outermost of your companions. The bear's roar echoed through the forest, sending birds scattering from the trees. The general had no time to react properly. His horse reared and bolted, throwing him to the ground. In an instant, the bear was within striking distance. Thoughts raced through your mind. No one but you could reach the general in time to save him, and he likely could not defend himself after such a heavy fall.
So, as always, everyone around us is completely fucking useless, and we have to either take action or do nothing. Taking action results in death. We tried rushing to Bardarian's rescue before. It doesn't end well. You versus a bear, it never ends well, especially when you don't even have a gun in this day and age. All you've got is a sword. The bear is going to completely fucking wreck you in about an instant, so we're going to watch from a distance.
To everyone's surprise, Bardarian rolled to the side with remarkable agility, drew his sword, and pierced the bear's heart with a single, precise stroke.
Oh, nice. The general's a
You witnessed
badass.
firsthand how the general earned his reputation, not just with words.
Yeah, respect.
The beast managed to land one final, powerful swipe, leaving Bardarian with a formidable scar. The experienced warrior, however, merely offered a crooked grin. No one blames you for standing back. After all, wrestling bears is hardly the king's business.
Good. So the general actually did what the general was supposed to do, and if anything, protected the king from the fucking bear. So that's what's supposed to happen when a bear attack comes not after you in a royal hunt. So well done, general. Something actually went right for once. Well played. Well played. Go to the throne room. Minor ailment, no big deal. No, we died again.
Death by
For
cold.
fuck's sake.
It all began with what seemed like an ordinary ailment. On that fateful day, as the cold wind whispered its ominous tales and chilled your
God
skin,
damn it. We
you
just
felt a
finally
faint
made some
tickle in your throat.
progress.
Convinced it was nothing more than a passing cold, you continued your duties, ignoring the foreboding signs. Your loyal servants offered warm tea and a soft blanket, but you, unyielding to minor discomforts, waved them off dismissively. The next day, your condition worsened. Your nose became blocked. Every breath was accompanied by painful coughing, and weakness clung to you like an unwelcome shadow. Yet proud and resilient, you still believed it was merely a fleeting illness that would soon recede. But the illness had no intention of retreating. Its grip grew tighter with each passing day. High fever, chills, and an aching body confined you to bed. Servants worked tirelessly, doing all they could to care for you, but the illness was relentless. As the fever climbed higher, your mind began to blur. You, who had so swiftly taken on the weight of a kingdom and the responsibility of its future, now found yourself powerless against this invisible foe. In the dark hours of the night, when time seemed to slow, the gravity of your condition became undeniable. A bone-deep cold gripped you, triggering uncontrollable shivering and convulsions that left behind a clammy, foul sweat come morning. The palace fell silent, filled with anxious anticipation. And then, on one bleak and frigid day, your heart, which had barely had the chance to serve the kingdom, ceased to beat. Your body was moved to a small chamber and covered with a blanket, a makeshift shroud marking the end of your reign. Your swift and undignified demise shook the palace and, soon after, the entire kingdom. History will remember you as the Sniveling King.
The Sniveling King. You fucking pricks. Right, we're going to do it this time, chat. Well, we're getting lots of
After your
achievements
death,
at least.
conflicts erupted across the kingdom.
At least we're getting plenty of achievements. Okay. Surely this will be the one. This will be the playthrough. We're going to get past day 14, chat. I believe in us. So, we're not going to do Lost in the Woods. We'll do the Harvest Festival. We'll send a troop of buffoons.
The Harvest Festival.
Because that loses the least amount of... You either lose a lot or lose a little.
Modern performance, but many
initiative. We're going to do Matters of the Port next as well.
Matters of the Port.
I'm going to piss off the aristocracy this time. We're going to try option 3 of this one, I think. What does this pompous aristocrat think of himself? All his property is hereby seized by the crown, and the city guard will be patrolling the port today. Yeah, fuck this little cunt. How dare he? Who does he think he is?
It had been a long time since kings had displayed such brazen tyranny.
Tyranny.
Nightingale refused to tolerate the insult and took poison in his lavish portside home, sending a dozen letters to the most prominent aristocrats as his final act. What he wrote about you would never pass any censor.
He fucking killed himself. What a pussy. So because we were like, no, you can't charge the people this much in the port, or deny the guards access, he's like, fuck you, I'm going to kill myself. What a toxic little cunt. Good riddance. Good fucking riddance. Toxic piece of shit.
The butler's advice.
Okay, let's try the aristocrats. Let's see if that gets the royal guard like you suggested, Dimitri. Lady she never kept waiting. Summon Countess Evishel. So +1 with the aristocracy. Countess Evishel shows up. Yeah, so she gives you the Masons Guild.
All the skilled builders had fled over the past years from the struggling kingdom.
Maybe it's the commoners then.
The invested considerable effort and resources to assemble a new team of craftsmen, the Masonry Guild.
I don't mind that though. The Masonry Guild's good because that means we're going to take the treasure again. Because that means we can do this other mission that pops up, the Smelly Affair. If we have the Masons Guild, you get the best option in the Smelly Affair. So I don't mind taking that. We're going to try the commoners. Next time we restart, though, we're going to try meeting with the commoners first, because I want to see if they're the ones who give you the... Just want to get it clear in my mind. It must be them, but I don't know. Trapped in the snow, so Barbarian knows what to do there. And then a Smelly Affair now we can now do. Because we have the Masonry Guild, which we didn't have before. Commoners and the Royal Guard seems counterintuitive. Yeah, it does sometimes, doesn't it? Some of the decisions seem really counterintuitive. But yeah, because we've got the Masonry Guild now, we can we can do this option, which is order the masonry guard to build a new village nearby in a location chosen by the peasants, which keeps everyone happy and gives you just a net positive of everything.
How wonderful.
Apart from this,
so
health,
far-sighted.
basically.
The Masonry Guild quickly built new homes for the peasants near one of the many streams in the area. The villagers had to transport their belongings themselves, but that was a minor inconvenience.
Yeah, good. We're gonna build. No, we're gonna do the throne room, and then we'll build the inn. Put the portrait back. Merely piece of iron. Search without our involvement.
Silver lining.
Common folk killed the silver, and then no one has the right to terminate the lease because that's a neutral outcome.
Deep down, the common folk understood.
We're gonna build the inn now. Why does it only cost 11 rather than 12? Is that because we have the Masons Guild? 10% discount on building construction and hiring costs. Oh. So maybe it is best to side with the aristocracy early. That's pretty good. I didn't realize they gave 10% discount on everything. Let's end the turn. Okay. Fill a brush bill I don't think we've seen. Let's do business. We're going to lock everyone up again like we did last time. The aristocrats are going to be royally pissed soon. Yeah, potentially. Curb your appetite.
Curb your appetite.
Taxes may be collected once a year. Visit the throne room. We attack now. Lock the fragment away. We're on fire. Help the affected. Now the aristocracy should be a bit happier with us.
Next day after
Return. Can we afford the... I don't think we can. The informant. No, we need 9 and we've only got 8. Okay, end the turn again. Day 13, chat. Can we survive it? What would General Bardarian do? We're just going to put him in there because that's a neutral outcome. Put him in the dungeon. I don't know any of these outcomes. So, cattle mutilations is new. Let's check out cattle mutilations.
Cattle mutilations. Several large peasant farms have sent their representatives to you with an urgent matter. Livestock in the villages is dying massively and unexpectedly. Experienced farmers are baffled. There are no visible signs of disease. The loss of livestock threatens to become a serious issue for the central regions of the kingdom. Not only will people be deprived of meat and milk for the winter, but also a significant portion of their income.
Yeah, we can't wash our hands of it and just shrug, so we're going to have to do the option 3 because we don't have any other choice. Quarantine the villages, cull all remaining livestock and compensate the farmers. That's going to be like 4 initiative gone, so we're probably not going to be able to get the guy again. We're not going to get the informer yet again. Yeah, 5 initiative.
Your drastic measures were effective. Soldiers swept through the countryside in tight formation, ensuring that no animal in the affected area was overlooked. Farmers were deeply saddened, but they understood that these actions were for the greater good. Moreover, the financial compensation was satisfactory.
Okay, well, it made people happy at least, so we'll have to look on the bright side. Minor ailment. Do we survive this time?
Minor ailment.
We recovered. Yay!
You recovered.
You recovered. Even the fucking voice actor's like surprised. It's like, geez, you didn't die again. Well done.
Time. Still.
Yeah, shut up. Murder of the pawnbroker. We will do that one. The aristocracy is going to poison us again for sure. No good deed goes unpunished. We will send word to the church like we did last time. Return, end the turn. We're so being poisoned by the aristocracy again. So we can... Props for a theatre is new, I think. Murder on Gorm Street is new as well. So I think we can do these two because they're aristocracy type things. And we need to side with the aristocracy. I can't emphasize that enough now. If we don't side with the aristocracy in these 2 events, they are going to poison us at the end of this turn. But we made it to day 18, chat. Yay! We made it further than we've ever made it before. Props for a theatre.
Props for a theater. The Grand Valendor Theater, located just outside the city walls on the banks of the Silvana River, had recently completed renovations initiated by your predecessors. Craftsmen had restored the massive wooden beams beneath the vaulted ceiling, reinforcing them with carved overlays. The creaking wooden stage was replaced with new lacquered planks. Workers reupholstered the faded and worn draperies of the curtains. Special attention was given to the machinery for raising and lowering sets, as many ropes and pulleys had succumbed to the damp conditions and required replacement. The finishing touch was repainting the audience boxes in hues of ochre and terracotta, providing a striking contrast against the darkened stage. However, there were no funds left for costumes and props. Now the theater troupe has turned to you, requesting a final tranche to complete the refurbishment. The amount is substantial, as the necessary materials must be imported.
How do we get the herbalist? I think you just have to buy it. You just have to build it using initiative in the King's Hall, like we're building the inn and the informer. Option 1, says Dimitri, for the sake of art, no expense is too great. We could do that, but the thing is that'll again chew our initiative up, and then we won't have enough to get the informer yet again. Or we could try making it ourselves. If we do that though, we'll probably do something fucking retarded and kill ourselves. Like, you were sewing and cutting through some expensive looking material and cut your thumb off. Standing there like an idiot while your blood poured out everywhere, you looked at your thumb and decided maybe you should get the medic, but you died before you got there, or some annoying shit like that. I don't know. I don't want to waste the initiative, but I'm worried that he'll cut his fucking dick off and die if we try and make something ourselves. So I'm really not sure, chat. If for the sake of the art, no expense is too great. That sounds like it's going to be like 5 initiative or something. When we could just make something ourselves quite easily, or just simply order our servants to do it. Oh, this is frustrating. I bet you this results in death. How much do you want to result? This simple task of making something ourselves results in death, somehow. Should we take bets in the fucking chat? Let's just try it. I don't want to waste the initiative. Oh.
The troupe staged a comedy titled The Miserly King, performing in literal rags and tatters.
Literal rags and tatters.
The audience laughed and clapped, but their admiration was directed at the actors, not you. After the show, many were left with the impression of a cold-hearted miser on the throne.
Yeah, well, I need to find out what people think of me before I die. I'm so getting assassinated next turn.
Murder on Gorm Street. Dark clouds hung low over Valendor, and soon the rain would begin to drum against the cobblestones. The autumn evening wrapped the city in a cold mist, which crept slowly along the narrow streets. In the shadow of a 4-story building on Gorm Street, located in the old part of the city, no footsteps or voices had been heard for some time. The residents avoided this grim street, which had earned a sinister reputation due to its abundance of abandoned houses and the dubious folk who lurked nearby. Wrapped tightly in your cloak and pulling the hood low over your face, you wandered the city aimlessly. Dark thoughts about the blacksmith's death refused to leave your mind. How could a young and healthy man die so suddenly? Rumors spread through the capital like wildfire, each one more absurd than the last. Your musings were interrupted by a pair of city guards and your loyal bodyguard, Rocklu, who had been trailing behind you. Your Majesty, he began cautiously, the City Watch reported a strange discovery in this house. I advise you not to risk it and leave. Of course you ignored his words and followed
Of course
Rocklu
we
into
ignore
the
his
depths of the
words.
dark corridor,
Of course we do,
where
because
the
we're
dim
fucking
light of hastily
retard.
hung torches
And we don't value our life at all.
walls. A heavy scent of damp and mildew hung in the air. When you entered one of the rooms, the sharp stench of decay hit you like a wave. At the center of the room, amid overturned furniture and scattered papers, lay 2 bodies. The first was a large man, dressed in expensive clothing that seemed out of place in this ruin. His face had been mutilated beyond recognition, as though someone had furiously tried to obliterate his identity. Beside him lay the body of an elderly woman, twisted into an unnatural pose. Her face was frozen in a mask of terror, and her hands were folded across her chest as though she had tried to shield herself. You scanned the room carefully. On the table lay strange items: a broken dagger with a gemstone-encrusted hilt and a length of thin rope. Rocklu muttered quietly, "Your Majesty, no one nearby saw or heard anything unusual?" What is most bizarre is that the doors were locked from the inside, and the windows of the first 3 floors are all boarded up. The house has been abandoned for years. This means the killer must have either remained inside or jumped from the 4th floor. Certainly, people die every day, and it is hardly the king's business to investigate murders. Or is it?
Interesting, a locked door murder case. I love these puzzles, they're well fun. So what can we do? Option 1, what is there to think about? Summon Corman Reich. Corman Reich must be our detective, so yeah, we're missing him, so we can't do that. Option 2 is have the city guard thoroughly comb the capital and detain any suspicious individuals. Well, that's not going to work. How the fuck are you going to just detain people based on an assumption that they're suspicious for some reason? Or option 3, tear down the house and be done with it. There's no time to waste on this nonsense. Dimitri reckons option 2 because he's afraid option 3 will piss someone off. I think the other way around. I think if you tear down the house and be done with it, that will just end this quest line or end this investigation line, and nothing more will come of it. But if you have the city guard go through the capital and detain people, they're going to be arresting random people, and I think that will piss off the aristocracy or the commoners if either one of them gets arrested. If like a load of commoners and a load of aristocrats get arrested for no reason other than the king seeming they're suspicious, then I think they'll get pissed off. So I think we're just going to tear down the house. Oh shit, no, you were right.
It seems you have read a similar story somewhere. But now is not the time for
-2 from the aristocracy.
Workers swiftly
Why would that piss off the aristocracy?
Where such a horrific tragedy took
Oh,
place.
the victims' relatives,
However,
right.
your absurd measures did little to placate the victims' numerous relatives.
Blimey, we're so being poisoned now, chat. We are going to get poisoned to death.
A feast of feasts. Your butler, Adrian the Burner Holloway, clad in his...
Okay, so this guy wants you to have a feast. Well, hello, poison. Yeah, exactly. It's long overdue. Spare no expense. Invite as many people as possible. We need to do this, otherwise, like you said, we're going to get poisoned.
Sometimes such extravagance is not thoughtless waste, but an investment in the future. At the feast, you met many fascinating individuals. For instance, the elderly Renard Gorvin.
That's definitely worth doing, because you get +1 on all factions apart from the commoners. It costs you 6 initiative, but you get 1 back every 2 turns. So in 6 turns, you'll have... No, in 12 turns, you'll have your money back, and then you get more throughout the rest of the campaign. If you can live that long. That's if you live that long. We're probably going to get poisoned next turn. Faith can move mountains.
Faith can move mountains.
This is a new one, I think.
You sit in the throne hall as the day slowly drifts toward its end. The door creaks open just as you nearly nod off on the throne. A situation you have found yourself in before. A Luminite priest stands at the threshold. With a gesture, you beckon him to approach. The monk is old and silver-haired. The few wisps left on his crown are as white as the first snow. Yet his face is almost devoid of wrinkles, smooth like a sheet of parchment. His voice is deep and steady, and he speaks clearly and deliberately. May the radiant lumen protect you. Your Majesty, I am Father Luminario, steward of the church's affairs. The Holy Father Lumiel has sent me to you with an important matter. You motion for the monk to sit and explain himself. Under your predecessor, Magnus the Heretic, the aristocracy was granted a right that, for centuries, belonged solely to our church. I speak of crafting sacred jewelry, sun-turners, sunstones, and the like. Today, such relics can be bought in any jeweler's shop across the kingdom, treated as mere trinkets instead of holy artifacts. This has inflicted significant financial damage on the church, and as a result, we now lack the resources to assist the needy or contribute to the royal treasury. In the past, our contributions to the crown were substantial. The reason I stand before you, rather than the Holy Father Lumiel himself, is delicate. Most of the kingdom's jewelry workshops are controlled by the Ivanshall family. The Holy Father does not wish you to think this is merely a matter of his strained relationship with Countess Eleanor.
I think we have to go for option 2, because the aristocrats are going to string us up. I know little of my predecessor's rule, but I think this I must support him. A free trade is a sign of progress. I think we've got quite a good standing with the church at the moment, so we're going to go with option 2 because...
The priest bows his head, accepting your decision. You can hear his teeth grinding. No doubt the Holy Father will hear of your refusal before nightfall. As for the Countess, it is now up to you to inform her that you have defended one of her most valuable assets. You had better start writing that letter.
Yeah, before the poison comes.
An incident at the border.
Oh, this is new as well.
To the northwest lies the smallest fortress in your kingdom, Reinhard. Surrounded by wilderness, bordered by dense forests on one side, and the Satyr mountain range on the other, it holds strategic importance due to its position along the land route to Cocao. While Kokian merchants typically prefer maritime transportation, they occasionally use this overland path to transport tea, spices, salt, art, metalworks, and food supplies, some of which are vital for provisioning soldiers stationed at the border. Despite this, reports of supply issues at the border outposts near Reinhard have been on the rise. The task of provisioning these border posts had been granted under concession to the aristocrat Simon the Ferneriddle during the reign of Radwin Forgive Me Please. Recently, however, reports of delays in delivering food and essential goods have become more frequent. Soldiers are increasingly frustrated, questioning why dozens of wagons freely cross the border daily, while they are left to go hungry. The situation escalated when Captain Edgar Hunter, commander of the Reinhard garrison, learned that a supply caravan had crossed the border and was en route to deliver goods to the outposts. However, the caravan never arrived. Determined to uncover the truth, Captain Edgar dispatched his men to investigate. It was discovered that while the caravan had indeed crossed into your kingdom, it had been redirected by Simon Ferneriddle's men to his private warehouses. Outraged, Captain Edgar confronted the aristocrat to demand an explanation. Simon the Ferneriddle claimed that the goods were temporarily detained for inspection and sorting, but the captain suspected the aristocrat of flipping the goods for personal profit, whatever that might mean. Tensions reached their peak. The matter has now come to your attention, and a decision must be made urgently.
So unfortunately, we don't have an option in this one because we don't have good enough relationship with the aristocracy or the granary, which means we have to leave things as they are, which is going to be terrible. Yeah.
Although no open mutiny occurred, the soldiers' trust in the crown significantly deteriorated. Moreover, some caravans began to be looted, with rumors suggesting the culprits were your own troops.
Yeah, not good.
A message from the Holy Father. It has only been a short time since the mysterious cult began its charitable mission in the Bay of Storms. Yet reports from Holy Father Lumiel began pouring in from all corners of the kingdom the very next day. All the messages conveyed the same general concern. The people in red hoods are growing in number. In the village of Lower Lamke, they helped rebuild a collapsed mill. To the soldiers in a distant garrison near the Cocao border, they delivered firewood for the winter. A report from Cherry Isle noted that the Stella Cadence offered to repair the rotting docks. Your Majesty, one of your informants reports, while you dine in the royal hall, these hooded folk call themselves Stella Cadence. Their cult arose after the recent falling star. We know that they gather in the evenings, dressed in their peculiar garments, gazing at the sky, hoping to witness another divine appearance. However, I still have no information regarding their goals or intentions.
Okay. We can either stop the gatherings immediately, or I think we're just going to continue observing them.
Your caution has brought no good results. The church is puzzled as to why you did not nip this religious cult in the bud.
Can we allow without pissing off the priests some more? Apparently not, no. Apparently allowing them piss them off as well.
Stella Cadence. You see for the first time a hood, or Stella Cadence, as they call themselves. The figure in red sits serenely on a bench in the park near the castle, awaiting their meeting with you. She is softly humming a melodic tune, Stella Cadence, softly gleaming. In the night, your light is streaming, guiding hearts with gentle sway as you gracefully fade away. A star flew by, its fire gleaming, through night our hearts with hope redeeming. Guide us gently, like a spark, until your blaze fades in the dark. Seeing you, she stops singing and hurriedly rises. Beneath the hood, faint glimpses of fair curls and skin, the color of keratin marble, are visible. An aristocrat, clearly. Your Majesty, what an honor. The girl suddenly kneels at your feet. What an honor to kneel before the precursor. Stammering and visibly anxious, she begins recounting how she and her brothers in faith witnessed the fall of that star. At the moment of its descent, they experienced the revelation, spoken with unmistakable reverence, as if capitalized. The future Stella Cadens claim to have grasped some profound truth in that moment, donning red as a mark of their calling. Since then, they have wandered the lands, performing good deeds and spreading the revelation to those who were denied the chance to witness the celestial fall. They call you the precursor, the one who heralded this divine event. After all, you ascended to the throne on the very day Stella Cadence was born. Abruptly, she bows and announces she must leave, but assures you that you will meet again soon. Her sudden departure leaves you off balance, without a chance to ask her much of anything. And then it dawns on you that you did not even ask her name.
Are we dead? Should we make the priests angry some more? Well, I don't know. If we're not dead, if we make the priests angry some more, we'll probably end up dead. So this basically, the cult is basically supporting you as an individual. They're basically saying that you're like the savior of humanity and that the star fell from the heavens when you ascended the throne. So we could declare them outlaws immediately. That would please the church. We need doctor urgently. This is clearly an act of collective delusion. We're missing the physicians, so can't do that. We can keep a close eye on them, or they're a charming bunch, let them carry on as they are. So basically, do we want to endorse them? Do we like where they're going with this whole, you are the savior of humanity, hero of mankind? I think we'll just keep a close eye on them for now.
Those around you begin to sense indecision. You cannot sit on two chairs at once.
Yeah.
There can only be one religion in the kingdom.
Okay, well, we're probably going to get poisoned now. Let's end the turn, because we've got no money and nothing else to do. Chat, we made it to day 23. We made it to turn 6. Unbelievable. Right, I need to go grab another drink and go to the loo, guys. I'm going to be back in just a moment, so I'll put you in the intermission. And, yeah, please don't go anywhere. See you all when I get back. Alright guys, I'm back. Thank you so much for your patience. Let us continue the journey and see if we can survive a bit longer. We'll do the inspection at Lucor because we know we can get through that without losing too much. We'll just lose one initiative. Because we know just to shout a word of warning now.
You shout almost girlishly, but it has no effect. The rope snaps under the crate's weight and it crashes down, killing several workers instantly. The port's operations halt for the entire day, resulting in financial losses.
That is the best outcome you can actually get from that event, so that's cleared it now, and we've only lost one initiative. So that's fine. Yo-ho-ho and a bottle of rum. We could do, but we piss off the commoners if we don't pay the ransom. The third Valandor tournament. We haven't seen that yet. Let's do that. Oh, it's a chess tournament.
The Valandor Chess Tournament is a highly anticipated and prestigious event. Aristocrats, prominent Luminites, and military elites from across the kingdom gather in the capital to participate. Over the past decade, chess has gained immense popularity both in the sacred temples of Lumin and in the drawing rooms of the nobility. Much of this is attributed to the efforts of the Holy Father Lumiel. The Holy Father Lumiel, an ardent fan of the game, pays great attention to these tournaments, viewing them not only as a way to spend time in an honorable pursuit, but also as an opportunity to strengthen the church's influence. The previous tournament turned into a true sensation. The Holy Father suffered an unexpected defeat at the hands of your cousin, Dauphin Magnus the Heretic. Rumor has it that this event was the final straw that led the church to depose the defiant regent.
Really, that's
However,
funny.
such tales may simply be vicious gossip. Magnus disappeared and his body was never found. Nevertheless, Lumiel is determined to claim victory this time around. This year's participants have gathered in the open courtyard of Valandor. At the far end, you notice General Bardarian. While he is not participating, he has come to support the officer corps. Notably absent is Countess Eleanor Nervinschel. Then again, she rarely leaves Cherry Isle. Naturally, you decided to participate as well. Given the large number of contestants, the tournament is single elimination. Losing even one game means a player is out. In the case of a draw, a rematch is played with reversed colors. Your first opponent is Roderick Hansen, the commandant of Fort Reinhard. He is not the strongest player, but should not be underestimated. Known for his aggressive openings, Roderick struggles to maintain focus if his early game gambits fail, often resorting to reckless moves.
First, when you were aggressive, the priest told you to be a careful player. Yeah, I agree. Also, like it says, he struggles to maintain focus if his early game gambits fail. So we're going to play positionally and avoid reckless aggression to start and see if we can wear him down. Yeah, we did.
The second round. You made your move, and Roderick Hansen slowly bowed his head in acknowledgement of defeat. None of the fortress commandant's furious attacks bore fruit. You steadily improved your position, move by move, and finally a Zugzwang emerged on the board. A situation where the opponent had no good moves, and all possible ones led to inevitable defeat. The chess match concluded, and without wasting any time, you began preparing for your duel with the next opponent. Seated at the table across from you was Valerius the Cert Nightingale, a member of a prestigious family that owned vast properties in the capital's port district. A seasoned player, Valerius was someone you had never faced on the board before. Leaving you with no knowledge of his playing style, he offered you a sly smile and shook your hand, signaling that the game was ready to begin.
I think this is a 50-50 gamble. Should we toss a coin for this one, guys? I mean, you could say it's unlikely to be the top one again, but they could quite easily be throwing a red herring in there, and it's like the top one every time. 2 says Dimitri. I will show Valerius how sharp gambits should be played is like the logical choice, because you think, yeah, it'll be the second option this time, not the first option. But the first option worked for us the first time, which means that strategy is a valid strategy that could work against this guy as well. So I'm completely 50-50. But Dimitri, your choice, your call got us out of that fire last time, didn't it? You said go right, and we went right and survived, so I'm going to trust your instincts. We will go with option 2 and see if that gets us the victory. No, we lost.
The tournament is over. In desperation, you throw your king onto the board, conceding defeat. Your opponent played exceptionally well and was too much for you to handle. As you leave the table, you notice the Holy Father Lumiele securing yet another victory. He humbly nods in your direction, but his eyes reveal a different emotion entirely.
What emotion do his eyes reveal? Tell us. Is it fury? Is he coming after us, chat? Who knows? Participation is what truly matters, right?
Chess proves to be an excellent mental exercise and an opportunity to forge new connections.
So I guess with that one, each you get more the further you get into the tournament. So for each round that you win, you probably get +1 initiative unless you win the whole tournament, and then maybe you get like +10 initiative or something for the prize. But yeah, unfortunately we didn't make it through the second round. It was the same top one. The same decision was the top one to do again. But it might be RNG, it might just be luck, I'm not sure. Because otherwise, once you know the tournament and you know what the options are, like which one wins, you'd just be able to win the tournament every time. But then I guess that's the game, isn't it? Once you know what decisions to make, you know exactly how to maneuver the game in such a way that you always win. So always play defensive? Yeah, maybe, or at least for the first two matches. Especially, it did say that we didn't know his play style. So, you know, if you're playing someone you don't know how to beat yet, maybe just play defensively for a little bit until they expose their weakness and then jump on their weakness. Or they expose a strategy that would work against them. Who knows? Anyway, let's carry on. Let's go to the throne room.
Incognito. You were accustomed to your butler, Adrian Werner Holloway, not only efficiently managing all
like the priest
castle
suggested,
affairs,
yeah, I
but
think
also
so.
serving
I
as
think
an
he was
invaluable
hinting at that at the
advisor.
end as well,
The very
especially
notion of him
when
being
you
just
locked
a
eyes
hired
with the
servant
priest and
seemed
he was
absurd.
with the
Usually, Adrian would bring you a new blend of
the
tea
bishop
from
or whatever
Coquero
he
during
is.
breakfast, while leisurely discussing the
and he was like laughing at you or whatever his emotion betrayed.
on various issues. Although you did not always agree with him, you understood his motives. One morning during such a breakfast, Adrian proposed something that, at first glance, seemed utterly absurd.
Oh, we have seen
Your
this one before.
Majesty,
So basically,
to better-
Adrian suggests you you go out amongst the common folk dressed like a commoner, like kind of like Princess Jasmine does in Aladdin, and you go out and you see it. There's basically an argument forming between the villagers and some soldiers, who basically are levying taxes or something. So yeah, we can't do any of this stuff, basically. We either flee in fear, which will keep us alive, but we'll lose a bunch of stuff, like initiative and reputation, or we can try putting on our crown and declaring that we're the king. Like, out of nowhere, basically, just randomly revealing that we're the king and putting on a crown when everyone's about to riot and start killing the soldiers. I think if we put on a crown and declare kneel before your sovereign, everyone will go nuts and just, like, kill us, beat us to death in a stampede. I'm willing to try it though, because this run isn't going particularly well either. Well, we've gotten further than we've ever gotten before, but one smells of death. Yeah, exactly. We either flee in fear and lose a bunch of stuff, or for science it and see what one does and see if we die. One does smell of death though. I'm pretty sure we're going to die here if we choose one. Maybe we should just flee in fear in the interests of carrying on the run and not restarting. We could flee in fear like a little girl. It's a tough call. I want to do this one because I want to see what the outcome is mainly, but I'm pretty certain it will be death of some kind. Yeah, you know what? I've completely lost track of what we have, what relations we have with any of these people. I know we're on about a -3 or 4 with the aristocracy, so I'm pretty sure we're about to be poisoned by someone anyway or assassinated in the next couple of events. So I'm going to actually choose option 1 just to for science it and see what we get. Death for science then. Yeah, exactly. I'm going to do option 1 because I want to see what it brings us. Just want to see if it is death. I want to confirm it. No, it isn't.
Your theatrical display.
It's not death, but we still lost quite a lot.
Nearly 100 villagers surged toward you, risking a stampede that
yeah,
would have crushed
like
their
I said, a
minds.
stampede.
You were thoroughly frightened, but at the last moment, your guards protected you and quickly evacuated you to safety. Your usefulness was about as much as a goat in a dairy.
Yeah, we're as useful as a goat in a dairy, chat. What do you say to that? Yeah. Oh, well, we're going to get poisoned now anyway. Here we go. No, this is someone else.
The priest of Tenebris. The priest of Tenebris, Heresiarch Severian, was an enigmatic and sinister figure. As a boy, the very thought of his existence seemed incomprehensible. After all, Tenebris, the antithesis of Lumen, the lord of darkness and shadows, was said to despise humankind. His domain was the night, when light fades and a shroud of darkness envelops the world. Some whispered that Tenebris was Lumen's brother, though the canonical tenets of Luminism painted him as the embodiment of evil, the eternal foe of the light. How then could a king allow the open existence of such a blasphemous individual? Yet in the kingdom, the Church of Tenebris was not outlawed. More accurately, it was officially tolerated. Upon ascending to the throne, you were entrusted with a secret by Saint Father Lumiel. The Church of Tenebris, it turned out, was entirely under the control of the Luminites and Saint Father Lumiel himself. Its creation served a singular purpose: to provide the populace with a tangible manifestation of evil. The sect of Tenebris consisted of no more than 200 or 300 members, many of whom were undercover Luminites, ensuring the dark sect remained firmly in check. Those who joined out of a genuine devotion to darkness often disappeared under mysterious circumstances. Today, Father Lumiel proposes deploying this trump card.
Oh, I see.
Heresiarch Severian, the priest of Tenebris, would publicly align himself with the Red Hood cult, which had been growing in influence across the kingdom. For this scheme to succeed, however, royal backing would be essential. Organizing joint events, public gatherings, and even rituals could convince the people that the Red Hoods were nothing more than followers of Tenebris.
I understand this now. I didn't understand it last time. I think I was too tired, or I was reading chat and not paying attention enough to what was said. I understand how this works now and what's going on, so we're actually going to provide open support is the best option in this one, option one. Although it'll lose us a bunch of initiative, it will gain us a net positive, hopefully, in relations with the church and with people in general. Genghis Den, how's it going, mate? Welcome. Make the church angry, we are dead. So we could refuse. I'm going to try the top one, because last time we tried the second one, because I didn't understand what was going on. So I was like, provide covert support. But this time I want to provide open support. I want to see what happens. Everyone gets pissed off. There you go.
Such open support was met with disapproval from all segments of society, except perhaps the Luminites. The nobility and military officers understood everything immediately, while the common folk decided their new king was in league with dark forces.
So, I don't understand why it was -1 with the Luminites. That's weird. I could understand why it's -1 with like the commoners and the aristocracy, but I don't see why it's -1 with the soldiers and the... Oh well, whatever. Here we go, an ambush.
The ambush. You had been warned repeatedly about the dangers of traveling with a small escort.
Okay, we're dead again.
No one could elaborate on this more tediously than Adriana Holloway. But you dismissed his concerns as if swatting away a bothersome fly. Fate, however, decided to prove you wrong. The road you traveled late at night wound through a dense forest. Tall trees with interwoven branches cast a dim light, even under the bright moon, that illuminated that ill-fated night. Mist coiled along the ground. Your group, consisting of a few loyal guards, moved cautiously but without undue alarm. After all, the capital was only an hour and a half away.
Oh, only an hour and a half
away?
away? That's not far at all, is it?
When the forest silence was abruptly shattered by the sharp crack of branches. The sudden noise put you on edge, and your guards immediately drew their swords, peering into the dense bushes on either side of the road. From the shadows of the forest emerged a group of men. At first glance, they could have been mistaken for common bandits, but their fine swords and elegantly crafted gambesons betrayed their noble origins. Aristocrats, without a doubt. And they had not come to the forest for a moonlit picnic, nor had they stumbled upon you by chance. One of the strangers, a tall and broad-shouldered man, stepped forward. His voice was low and rumbling, like a bear growling a threat as it emerged from its den. Well, Your Majesty, time to answer for the humiliations you have inflicted upon the noble class.
Yeah, so they haven't poisoned us this time. They're just going to beat us to death in the forest. Genghis Dan says, hey, not really my sort of game, but you deliver it really well. Looking forward to whatever you share next. Mate, I appreciate the support. Thank you for that. I'm glad that you enjoy it to a certain degree. But yeah, I'm all about finding the... they're not necessarily gems, but they're games that have been overlooked, like indie games that have been overlooked by other people and trying them out. Guards cover the king's tactical retreat, I think. We're not going to fight them head on. We're just going to try and retreat and get the guards to cover us. That would be what a sensible king would do. Oh, we escaped. Escaped! He says it was such surprise as well.
Forming a protective ring around their liege. The attackers, armed with long swords and daggers, charged forward with ruthless ferocity. From somewhere deep in the forest, arrows began to rain down. Those scoundrels had placed archers in the ambush.
Yeah, so if we'd done a fight, we would have been archered to death, I reckon.
Guards, cover the king's tactical retreat. Arrows whistled past, one even grazing your ear.
Yeah, if we'd stood and fought, we would have died to arrow fire.
Forward. Someone seemed to be chasing you, but fear kept you from looking back. Soon the sounds of battle faded into the distance. You turned off the road and stopped, listening to the pounding of your heart. The forest was silent. After making sure no one was following, you returned to the path and headed toward Valandor. Luck was with you today, but if the problem with the aristocrats isn't resolved, fortune might abandon you next time, leaving you to the cold embrace of death.
So that was the right decision, but I wonder if there's also a certain element of RNG to it as well. Like the way it says luck was with you today makes it sound like maybe there's like a 50-50 roll if you escape or not. Like the arrow that grazes your ear may strike you sometimes if you try and run. Who knows?
A few guards, including Rocklu, returned to Valandor a day later. Your retreat had drawn away some of the conspirators who gave chase after you. What seemed like cowardice was interpreted as a clever maneuver, and the soldiers' opinion of you improved.
Cowardice. It's not fucking cowardice to tactically withdraw if you're outnumbered, outpositioned, outgunned, and just generally about to be fucking eradicated, especially when you're the king or commander or general. If you're like the leader of them and you're an important person,
Locust plague.
It's not cowardice, it's tactical.
It came
it's
as
stratagem
night
chat.
Arrives, spreading its dark mantle across fields and meadows. At first, they were just tiny spots on the horizon, barely visible, like distant flickers of stars. But soon these spots grew, swelled, and suddenly a dark cloud loomed overhead, deafening and endless. They descended on the peasants like sudden summer hail, each beat of their wings akin to a lightning strike. Grass that had been green and lush just yesterday now lay dead, yellowed, and scorched. Trees, once proud and mighty, stood bare, as if stripped of their armor. The wind, which had once carried the scent of flowers and fresh rivers, now brought only the rustle of countless wings and the stench of devastation. Amid this terror and chaos stood some who remained silent, watching the destruction with bitter resignation. The village elders, seasoned by life's trials, knew that the locusts would come and go, as all calamities do. But their departure would leave scars that neither rain nor time could erase. Hope rested on the shoulders of the new king, but would he come to their aid?
Okay, so we can either dispatch wagons of seeds and provisions to the village immediately, along with a dozen soldiers to maintain order. That will reduce reputation with the army and cost us a shitload of initiative. We can do option 3. This is a great tragedy. I express my deepest condolences, which is basically washing your hands of the event and doing nothing, which will really piss off the commoners. Or you can get the aristocracy to immediately raise funds and fully compensate the peasants for their losses, which will of course not cost us anything, but really piss off the aristocracy. One, I mean, we can allow to anger the army a bit, right? Yeah, I agree, Dimitri. I think option 1's the best choice. It's going to cost us, but... Oh, it didn't piss off the army, but it cost us money. That's fine.
With provisions appeared on the horizon, few could hold back tears of joy. We will survive. Everything will be all right. Glory to the king. The villagers cheered.
Oh, here we go. He got poisoned again.
Attempted poison.
So not only did they try and assassinate us in the same turn, they also tried to poison us. Not only did they attack us in the forest to try and kill us, they're also like poisoning our wine just to doubly make sure that we're dead. Alright, we'll go for vile traitor this time.
The butler seemed to stammer something about his innocence, but the ringing in your ears and the monstrous stomach pain drowned out every sound. With a horrible wet sound, a mixture of blood, mucus, and something unidentifiable forced its way up from your throat. Darkness clouded your vision, and you are falling into the abyss. History will remember you as the emptied king.
Caesar the Emptied. Fucking hilarious. Right, I think I'm not going to bother trying to do the Informer because it's fucking ridiculous. It takes so long to get the Informer, and you're constantly being battered down the initiative so that you never actually fucking get there. Like, it costs 12 to buy the inn and then another 10 to get the fucking Informer as well. That's 22 initiative, and you're constantly being wiped. You're constantly being reset on your initiative because you have to pay for shit, and you're constantly bleeding initiative. So rather than doing that, I think I'm just going to grab a pen and a piece of paper and keep physical track of what the commoners think of me, and we're going to go for something else, like, for example, the granary, which can help us in various other decisions. Maybe, let's see, the herbalist. That might keep us alive if we try and get poisoned. The physician, perhaps, we could buy. That might do something somewhere else. So, yeah, I'm not going to even try and get the fucking initiative. It sounds like, the game makes it sound like, oh, build an inn, get an Informer early, and then you can see what everyone thinks of you and keep track of it and monitor it and then make wise decisions based on how they're feeling. But it takes so fucking long to get to the point that you actually have an Informer that they get so pissed off that they kill you before that anyway. It's almost impossible to do it quickly. So we're not even going to fucking bother trying to do it. I'm just going to keep manual track of what people think of me. And we're going to go for more useful buildings that actually keep us alive and extend our reign, which means eventually we'll get an Informer and find out if me keeping track was correct. God damn it, this game is fucking irritating. Maybe we should try buying a herbalist next, says Dimitri. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Like, basically everything I just ranted is summed up in that sentence. I think we had the same idea at the same time. So give me 1 second, guys. I'm just going to grab a pen and a piece of paper, and I'll be right back to carry on and give this another try. Alright guys, I'm back. I've got a piece of paper in front of me. I'm ready to start taking notes and keeping track of who's doing what. We're not even going to bother with the Informer in this playthrough. We're going to probably get the granary or the physician or the herbalist to see how they impact our decision and help us out. Because that seems like a far more useful expense of the initiative than anything else. So yeah, the new granary ensures the castle is well provisioned even in challenging times. Grain, vegetables and supplies are securely stored within its thick walls, helping the kingdom endure sieges and harsh winters. That not only gives us initiative every few turns, it also gives us extra health and automatically gives us one rep with the commoners. So that seems like a pretty good investment potentially. Far better than the inn, which only gives you initiative. The bathhouse does what? Oh, one initiative every 3 turns and gives you +1 with everyone except the... Oh no, +1 health. And then also +1 with the commoners and +1 with the aristocracy. The castle's bathhouse isn't just for washing, it's a sanctuary for relaxation. A place where everyone, noble or commoner, can unwind. That could be useful as well, just for keeping people happy for a bit. Mason's Guild, we can get gifted. Guard houses obviously increases the armory, increases our defense. Yeah, and the army. Military +1 and defense +1. And I just want to see what the herbalist does here. Herbalist. Okay, the same. It does the same as the granary in terms of what it offers. Like -1. Oh, it's -1 initiative, not +1 initiative. Okay. So the herbalist costs initiative every few turns, but it gives you health and reputation with commoners. Engar's herbal shop is a haven for remedies, offering everything from dried herbs and rare roots to tinctures and unctures and ointments. People come here for medicines that will save them from diseases and poisons. Okay, so if we get poison, we can summon the herbalist. That might help us. Or we could get a physician, which isn't as good, I don't think. It's -1 initiative every 3 turns, which is the same as the herbalist, but it gives you +1 health instead of 0.5 and no rep with the commoners. So I think we're going to go for the herbalist first. That seems like the best option. And then once we've built the herbalist, we're going to go for what was up here again? The granary, if we can afford it, but probably not. We can probably only afford 1 upgrade for a long while. So I like the idea of getting the granary, but we're going to get the herbalist first because it might save us if we get poisoned again, which is how we've died the last 2 times. So yeah, let's give this a go again. Harder the training, the harder the battle. That's fine. A smelly affair we can't do yet. Curb your appetite we can do. Traditions are sacred. The army needs to be reined in.
For the residents of the Shadow Valley, this matter was about more than money.
So we're at -1 with the commoners, +1 with the army, 0 with the aristocracy, 0 with the church.
The army, while displeased by reduced revenue, was willing to tolerate.
Go to the throne room. I'm going to meet with the commoners this time because I want to see if this gives you the noble guard, because it's the only option left, and I want to find out who gives it to you.
When the villagers of Tuhu saw the ornate royal,
that's actually that's probably the best option in terms of net gain.
They dropped everything and rushed to greet their new sovereign. At first you felt awkward, and the people mirrored your unease. But soon the initial shyness faded, and before long you were seated at a rustic table, bellowing folk songs like one of the kings of old and sharing a meal with your subjects. News of the people's king spread far beyond Tuhu.
That's actually a really good outcome. We got 2 initiative, +3 with the commoners, so we're now at +2. +1 with the army. Aristocracy is -1. And church is 0 again. Still. That's probably really good. That's a really good positive outcome. We're going to be stingier and even stingier. We're going to take his shit because we want it. The stars align. And we're on 11 initiative already on the first turn. So we can immediately go to the King's Hall and build the herbalist. So if we get poisoned, we're fucking surviving it, alright? The herbalist is going to keep us alive. Right, let's go. End turn. No Royal Guard, exactly. So I'm not sure where the Royal Guard came from. It must have been a patch. I'm pretty sure it was the army that gives you the Royal Guard. It was meeting the general. That makes the most sense. But I think they've patched it since that last playthrough that we did, since the last episode. And because of that, it's changed now to getting the Fencer instead of the Royal Guard for whatever reason. We're going to do Trapped in the Snow, send the army. So
the general bowed and left to assemble his
minus
troops.
commoners are +2
Bardarian
still.
had previously mentioned that the army dislikes being used for tasks.
Army is
unrelated to war
-1, so goes
or
to
the king's
0.
defense.
Aristocracy is
But in this case, he
+1,
remained
goes to
silent,
0.
likely because he was
Church is
personally
+1,
invested
goes
in
to
ensuring the
+1.
caravan's safe arrival. However, the mission was far from easy.
Something tells me the herbalist will be a 50-50 chance. Yeah, probably. I mean, let's be honest. If you've been poisoned and you have to get a fucking herbalist, by the time the herbalist gets to you, he has to try and then find the right antidote in amongst all his herbs, create the antidote with all the herbs, and then give it to you in time to counteract the poison. The odds of that, unless he's just got general poison antidote lying around, like, I don't know, a Bezoar from fucking Harry Potter, and you can just ram a Bezoar down your throat. Who fucking knows? But we're going to try it. It seems a better option than trying to go for the Informer, which is just impossible to get to before you die. So that went really well, so that was good. So you need a physician, it seems. Yes, physician was the other option, but the physician takes a lot longer to get. He's a lot more expensive. So the physician costs 4 more initiative, which doesn't sound like a lot, but 4 more initiative when you're constantly bleeding initiative and paying out initiative to make up for all the stupid decisions and all your annoying fucking commoners and peons and dickheads around you demand. It's actually quite hard to get to 14 initiative after you've spent the initial 10 on something. We're going to do the Harvest Festival. This is what I mean. For example,
The Harvest Festival.
we could piss off the commoners.
A gusty wind sweeps away the oppressive summer heat.
Let's do
as
send
the
for a
golden
troop of
autumn
buffoons.
approaches. You pause in a village conveniently nestled between the Bay of Storms and golden wheat fields.
Actually, no, this is the best option out of all of them. It costs 2 initiative, but it gets you something. If you send a buffoon of troops, then you lose 1 initiative, but you don't gain anything. So that's +1 on the commoners. That makes +3. 0, 0, +1. So we're in positive with everyone so far. Apart from army and aristocracy, which is 0. The throne room. Mace to nowhere. Fuck off. Doesn't need anything. Merely piece of iron. Yep, we'll take it. Silver lining. Okay, this is where the decisions start to get complicated and difficult. No one has the right to terminate the lease. I think we go with that one. We've got +3 with the commoners. We could do that. That would be like -2 with the commoners, +1 with the aristocracy, I reckon. But we've got a good rep with the commoners already, so yeah, let's side with the aristocracy here. Otherwise, we'll get assassinated again. Yeah, I thought so.
The aristocrat smiled smugly at the peasants and remarked that their troubles were only beginning. To you, he offered a curse.
God, I hate fucking aristocrats. They're so fucking annoying. +1 on commoners, 0 on the army, +1 on the aristocracy, +1 on the church. I fucking hate aristocrats and siding with them. They're such dicks. I wish I could kill them all. We've got no more initiative to build anything. Let's end the turn. You can afford to anger the commoners. Yeah, exactly. Because we built such good rep with them. Okay, so what would General Barbarian do? That's a neutral one. 5 years in the dungeon does nothing, so we'll go with that. I would do the Smelly Affair, but again, because we sided with the commoners, we don't have the... what is it called? The Builders Guild or whatever it is? The Masons Guild. We haven't got like we got last time. So we can't do the Smelly Affair yet. Oh, we can do the Royal Hunt, because we know the General survives. Watch from a distance. Yeah, no one blames you. Barbarian survives. No problem. Castle's on fire again. We attack. That's fine. We're on fire. We help those affected. That gives the aristocrats +1. So we are now +1, 0, +2,
the local nobility was
+1.
pleasantly surprised. The workers quickly cleared the rubble while an enhanced guard detail watched over the salvage belongings.
Merely a piece of iron. We're going to lock it away.
The strange cosmic metal.
Okay, end the turn. Let's do business. We're going to lock everyone away.
Few could dispute the fairness
so
of
we're now
decision
0, 0, +2,
However,
+1.
200 citizens suddenly reduced to poverty again would likely see it.
You had +1 from the chess game. Oh, thank you. Yeah, you're right. +2 on the church. I missed that because I was skipping. Thank you for catching that, Dimitri. Well noticed. So we're now 0, 0, +2, +2. We could do cattle mutilations. That would just be sending them some more initiative. Or we could do murder on Gorm Street. No, we don't have the detective for that yet. Twist to the wrist and a bit of trickery. We don't have the detective for that. Yo-ho-ho and a bottle of rum. We can't afford to piss off the commoners. We could try Antiaris and see what's new there, because that's a new one. Let's try that.
Antiaris. You dedicated an entire day to reviewing and addressing the numerous reports flooding your desk. The most prolific contributors to this paperwork were the familiar trio. Countess Ishvinshel, Holy Father Lumiel, and General Bardarian. The latter, in particular, seemed to take pride in meticulously detailing matters such as a rotting roof at one of the border posts and a critical shortage of ammunition for archers. It was amidst this avalanche of correspondence that Ingar the herbalist, a rare visitor to the castle, appeared before you. His perpetually wind-burned face was so covered in freckles that he resembled a rowan bush. "Your Majesty," he began, dropping to one knee. "Yesterday I had the chance to replenish my supplies in the foothill forest near Fort Reinhard. To avoid a long detour, a friend of mine from White Wasteland agreed to ferry me across the Silvana River by boat. Imagine my surprise when I discovered a genuine antiaris growing there." Engar elaborated on his discovery. In a small barren area along the Silvana River, amid scorching sands and sparse shrubs, grew a rare and lethally dangerous plant, antiaris. Its sap was so toxic that a single drop could kill not just one man, but an entire squad.
We
However,
found the
if
source
this
of our
poison
poisoning,
were applied
chat.
to arrows, it could make an army truly terrifying to its enemies. The herbalist described the plant in great detail. Its dead green hue and the thick resin that solidified on its trunk by evening. Antiaris, he called it, a dread sentinel, standing alone in the lifeless desert, created by nature on a day of wrath. However, Engar did not shy away from mentioning that extracting this deadly sap required extreme caution and was not without casualties.
He did not shy away from mentioning. Okay, so yeah, he said it's extremely expensive and difficult to and dangerous to harvest. So, 3 options: recruit expendable individuals, urban gutter, or prisoners. That'll obviously be negative commoners reputation, so we don't want to do that because we're at 0 at the moment. Select carefully chosen team for this mission and ensure they are well compensated. That sounds like the best option, but it will cost us a load of initiative, or I will not sacrifice the lives of my subjects for mere gain. If we do this, basically we're paying to increase the army, which is probably a good idea because of the reputation with it's 0 at the moment. And on top of that, our defense has gone down by 1.0, so that's like 20% or something. 25% it's gone down by. So yeah, we're going to do the second option like you suggest, Dimitri. Oh, we lost a commoner
Engar
anyway.
described the dangers, but failed to mention the excruciating pain the task would inflict.
Oh, there's always some small print, isn't
there? The
there?
first group sent to harvest the antiaris perished in agony.
Did they?
Their bodies covered in blistering sores. Neither protective wraps nor multiple layers of clothing offered any defense. However, the poison extracted was sufficient to coat a significant number of arrows, turning them into truly fearsome weapons.
Well, that was like a neutral gain, basically. It was positive and negative. So we're -1 with the commoners. We are +1 with the army, +2 with the aristocracy, and +2 with the church. Okay. End the day. Oh, we've got 15 initiative now, actually. So we're going to spend that on something. I think maybe the bathhouse or the granary. That would make the commoners happy again if we built the granary. That would cheer them up a bit. We could get the physician, actually. Although that would lose too much initiative per... I think that would be bleeding too much initiative. I'm going to go for the granary. Because that will give us initiative every 4 turns as well as this stuff. We could get the bathhouse. That gives us initiative. Oh, that seems like a better option. But if we get the granary, then we can use it in a number of events that come up. I've noticed the granary appears in like 3 events that you can do a better option if you have a granary in. So we're going to build a granary. Yeah, let's check the throne room. Minor ailment.
Minor ailment. The morning was cold and windy.
Yeah.
Began to feel
So basically, this is the ailment thing again. You can either do the not a big deal and do an RNG roll on the chance of you recovering, or this time, because we have the herbalist, we can actually send for the herbalist now to get a remedy, which will probably increase the odds of you surviving. So obviously, yeah, Dimitri, we're going to go for option 3. Okay, so that costs you something, but yeah.
The herbalist prescribed 2 decoctions, one with chamomile and another made from mashed raspberries. It seemed absurd to you, but the herbalist knew better. You diligently followed their advice.
By the 5th day.
By the 5th day, you started to feel better. Perhaps things would have improved faster if you had consulted a proper doctor.
By the 5th day, surely it would have improved. She could have gotten over it in 5 days, even without the fucking herbal remedies. But whatever. We recovered for definite, so that's something.
Murder of the pawnbroker.
Okay, murder of the pawnbroker. If you do court passing its verdict, everyone is happy apart from the church, I believe. So we're going to do that because we've got good standing with the church. No, it's the aristocracy. That's fine.
The church greatly valued your trust in their
So
principles,
+1 with the commoners
and
takes us
court,
to
made
0.
up predominantly
+1
of
with the church
commoners,
takes us to
admired
3.
your resolve to stand up to the nobility.
-1 with the aristocracy
The
takes us to
aristocracy, of
+1.
course, was
And we're +1 with the
displeased.
army, so it's going
However,
quite well.
you cannot please everyone.
Yeah, shut up.
You will only...
No good deed goes
No
unpunished.
good deed
So these
goes-
are the red cloaks. We can either write to the church. That would give us an extra +1 with the church. We can send the army to arrest everyone. They probably won't like that. We could let the people practice their charity. That would give us... We could try the top option, guys, because we've got a +3 with the church already. And if we do the top option, I reckon that'll give us +1 or +2 with the commoners. Will give us good reputation with all the commoners. We haven't tried it yet. And it seems like quite a neutral response. So I'm going to... That will probably give a -1 to the church, though. I reckon the top option will be -2 commoners, +1... +2 commoners, -1 church. So we're going to try it and see what... No, 1 and 1. Okay, fine.
The church learns that you have allowed these strangers,
+2,
worshippers of an unknown
+1,
God, to
+1.
freely preach
plus
to gullible
1.
commoners. What are they trying to achieve with this pretentious charity?
1 is -2 for the church. Yeah, I wasn't sure. I thought it would be something like that, but it was -1 +1. So that's quite a neutral outcome. Stellar Cadence, we are going
Stellar
to
cadence.
keep a close eye on them.
You see for the first time a hood.
Yeah, keep a close eye on them. And the church doesn't like that. Yeah, that's fine. Because we didn't, like, immediately throw them out. Okay, so we're at +1 for everyone at the moment, chat. End the turn. Five initiative. Props for a theatre. Looking for the blacksmith. We're going to look for the blacksmith and we're going to take him to the capital. So that gives us a forge. Tinker on the road. Smelly affair. Inspection at Lucor will do. Because that only loses 1 initiative. That'll give us more initiative next turn to spend on the theatre, for example. So inspection and Lucor. Desperately shout a warning. Feast of Feast.
A feast of...
Oh, you need 6 initiative to do the top one, and we can't afford it. Oh well. Very well, but let us not overextend. Invite dozens of the most influential figures among the church, the ability in the army. Okay.
Many of those who dreamed of attending the feast were unable to do so. This sparked whispers among the nobility that the new Dauphin was quite the miser.
Oh, you fucking
However,
pricks.
you were not particularly concerned, as you had a good time and forged some useful connections. For instance, the elderly Renara Gorvin, who runs the largest scriptoriums in the country, presented you with a fascinating collection of writings by the philosopher Evaleronis. Meanwhile, the Luminite monk Petronius brought news from Thorn, where a struggle for the throne has begun. Currently, your distant relative Tartagor sits upon the throne, dreaming of restoring Thorn's lost glory. But can he hold on? The feast stretched on until the early hours, and a rather inebriated ruler of Valandor had to be carried to your chambers by the palace guard.
Fair enough. Okay. So, on turn
Faith below
5...
mountains.
On turn 5, you need to... At the end of turn 5, you need 6 initiative, because it's worth doing the top option, because you get the initiative back over the course of the rest of the playthrough, and it gives you +1 with every faction as well. Okay, so what's this? Do not forget. Oh, yeah, so it's this guy. So he can either piss off the church and please the aristocracy, or we can piss off the aristocracy. I say we piss off the church again, because we're at +2 with the church still. Yeah. Okay. So we're at 0 with the church now, +2 with the aristocracy. plus
To the
2 with the
northwest lies
army,
the smallest
plus 1
fortress
with
in
the
your kingdom,
commoners.
Reinhard, surrounded by wilderness, bordered by dense forests.
Okay, so this, for example, we couldn't do these options before because we didn't have a good enough reputation with each of them. So supplying the troops is not a privilege but an honor. Revoke the concession and grant it to another aristocrat. We couldn't do that before because we didn't have a good enough relationship with the aristocracy. And then only the state should care for the soldiers regardless of the cost. I think we go with that one. Because that will... Oh, no. Well, I'm not sure. We've never done any of these. We've only had the option, the third option. And that doesn't end well for either of them. So we just need to do option 1 or 2. I think we're going to go for option 2. Only the state should care for the soldiers regardless of the cost. That sounds like it's just going to cost us initiative. So let's try that. Okay.
The state had originally granted concessions out of necessity, but under your capable leadership, you managed to reduce costs and improve supply efficiency. However, the aristocracy was understandably displeased.
1, says Dimitri, just as I click 2. Too late. Sorry, my friend. That's actually not a bad outcome. We got 2 initiative. We got plus 1 with the army. So we're now at plus 3 with them. We got minus 1 with the aristocracy, but we're still at plus 1 with them. 0 with the church. And again, plus 1 with the commoners. The common folk contribute. This is interesting.
Common folk contribute.
This is new.
An elder entered your throne hall, a tall, sinewy man with gray hair and calloused hands, carrying a small leather pouch with great dignity. He bowed respectfully before speaking. Your Majesty, he began, in all my years, I cannot recall any of our kings caring for the common folk as much as you have. Your decisions, your support for the simple people, we are
The
all
simple
deeply
people, I
grateful.
love it.
So, we men from the villages of Low Lamke, Whitemoor, and Padyach got together and decided we ought to give something back to show our gratitude. He lifted the pouch higher, revealing its contents. It is not much, he added with a faint smile, but it comes from the heart. The elder bowed again, and you saw in his eyes an unmistakable sincerity and pride in the people, who, despite their hardships, wished to show their gratitude to their ruler.
Okay, so I reckon this one's a bit of a trick. You can obviously decide to thank him and take the pouch, which means you'll get a bunch of money, a bunch of initiative, or you can refuse, stating that the peasants need it more. Now that sounds like it's a really good, sort of heartfelt, honourable option, where it'll stop giving you initiative but increase your reputation with the peasants. But I think it's a trick. I think because it says here he's got unmistakable sincerity and pride, if you refuse the gift, it might offend him. It might like upset him and piss him off. So I can see why you might go for option 2 and just be like, no, you keep it. You obviously need it more than me. And like a really honourable, honest, genuine gesture, it might really offend him and you might lose reputation. I don't know. I'm 50-50 again. I'm just explaining why, Dimitri. So what do you reckon? 1 or 2? Do we accept the pouch and just... I think we'll get -1 with the aristocracy or something if we accept the pouch. We'll get initiative, but we'll probably lose money, lose reputation from the aristocracy for accepting charitable gifts from the poor. If we refuse him, we won't get initiative, but I also reckon we'll lose... reputation with the peasants because it'll insult him. So 1, you think? Yeah, I think we'll go with 1. Let's just accept the pouch because I want initiative to build stuff as well anyway, so we'll just see what 1 does. Okay.
Of course, the peasants had gathered only a modest sum, barely enough to cover what you might spend on wine in a single day. Yet it is gestures like these that inspire you to work harder and achieve more.
So maybe if you refuse it... maybe if you refuse it, you don't get any initiative, but you'll get like +2 reputation with the commoners. Maybe I'm wrong and it's just I'm overthinking it, but it seems to me like that refusing it might insult him or something. Let's not offend the people. Yeah, exactly. It could be an offense to refuse their gesture of goodwill. So it's safer just to accept it for the moment. So let's do that. We don't have enough initiative to build anything, so let's go to the next turn. The third Valandor tournament we can do because that's just a chess game. We can also do Matters of the Port because we know, or we have a decent idea of what to do there. Let's do the chess game first. So the first one you play positionally. The second one you play positionally. The third round. Okay, this is where it gets interesting.
During the third round, only 9 participants remained out of the original 36. This imbalance presented a common organizational challenge in tournaments. When the number of players becomes uneven, one participant automatically advances due to a lack of opponents. This time, the lucky beneficiary was you.
Oh, nice.
By the fourth round, only 5 competitors remained, and your opponent was none other than the Holy Father Lumiele. So everyone present assumed the winner of this match would undoubtedly become the champion of the third Valandor chess tournament. You had prepared meticulously for this match, poring over the notes of Magnus the Heretic, who had detailed weaknesses in the positional play of the Holy Father Lumiele.
No worries,
An
Dimitri.
average player might not exploit these vulnerabilities, but your skillful play quickly turned the tide. By the 16th move, Lumiele's position looked bleak. He attempted to deviate from his usual style, hastily organizing an attack on the queen side where your king had castled, but ended up losing a pawn. Victory seemed within your grasp. Yet as you glanced at the pale and angry expression of the Holy Father, his eyes fixed on the board as though willing it to change, you questioned whether the win was worth the cost.
Okay, so we can deliberately lose to the Holy Father Lumiel, which will probably grant us a reputation with the church. We can subtly throw the match to avoid suspicion. If you deliberately lose, it probably won't look good. If you subtly throw the match, then that will probably mean you don't get anything, but you don't lose anything either. Or you can just absolutely demolish him, which will probably lose us reputation with the church, but then we'd win the tournament and gain reputation and wealth with everyone else. Tough decision, especially because we're 0 with the church right now. I'm going to show the old man how chess is truly played. I'm going to play greedy. I want to see what we get. Firstly, I want to see what financial benefit we get for winning the tournament. But I want to see if we also get respect and prestige and therefore relationship advancement with any of the others, like the aristocracy, for example. Oh, maybe not.
You make 6 precise moves, and the Holy Father Lumiele covers his eyes with his hands. Finally, he picks up his king and drops it onto the board in defeat. "Thank you for this lesson, Your Majesty," he says. "The last time I was
One's an
beaten this
insult,
thoroughly
yeah,
was
exactly.
by your late cousin, Magnus the Heretic. Though our views on the kingdom's direction differed radically, he was my most intriguing opponent. I am glad to see that Your Majesty has surpassed him in skill. Let us hope our relations will be far better."
Yeah, that went really well. So we picked 3, we beat him into submission, and he took the loss really well. He was really pleased with it. So now we're at +1 with the church. Oh, sorry guys, 1 second. Someone's at the door. I'll be right back in just a moment. Please don't go anywhere. Alright guys, I'm back. Thank you so much for your patience. It was just a parcel that I was expecting tomorrow, but arrived early. So yeah, awesome, all sorted. So yeah, it's going extremely well. We're at +1 with the commoners, +3 with the army, +1 with the aristocracy, +1 with the church now, because we crushed the priest in a tournament. I thought we'd get a bit of money for that, but I guess not. I thought we'd win the tournament and earn some influence for doing it, but I guess we just won the respect of the church, which is fine in itself, I suppose. Better than losing respect for the church. Respect of the church. So yeah, the throne room awaits, and no one's going to assassinate this turn. We're on day 24, and no one's trying to murder us yet, chat.
Incognito.
Okay, so we're back on the incognito one, where the butler decides to encourage us to go out like Princess Jasmine into the streets. This time we have a few other options, though, because we've got better relations with people. We can calm the peasants and promise to resolve the matter. We can calm the soldiers and assure them that you will handle the situation personally. We can flee in fear or put in your crown and declare kneel before the sovereign. So we chose option 1 last time. We didn't die, but it didn't go well. These two options smell of death. At least option 4 definitely smells of death. Like calming the soldiers and assuring them that you'll handle the situation personally seems to me like you're just going to get stampeded and murdered. So we could flee in fear, but that would cost us our reputation because people recognize you and you lose rep with the commoners and the army and the aristocracy. So I think we're going to go for option 3. We don't have the informer, so we can't do that. If we do option 3, calm the peasants and promise to resolve the matter, there's a chance that the calming won't go well and we'll end up being beaten shitless and killed because no one knows that we're the king. So this is a really difficult decision for me. It's either lose definite, lose a lot more, possibly die, or possibly die. If we try and calm the peasants, the soldiers might kill us or might like get aggro. If we try and calm the soldiers, they might get aggro and the peasants might get aggro. Like, all hell is about to break loose. We might just flee in fear because the reputation... I don't know. The run's going really well. I don't want to wipe it now. I'd rather flee in fear and lose a bit of respect from people than just die randomly. For his death, how so? Because the soldiers don't know we're the king. We've come out incognito. So saying, like, talking to the soldiers and being like, don't worry, I'll handle this personally, how would it help? I don't know, because maybe it means that we declare that we're king, but that seems like the first one. So basically, you're a random peasant coming up to the soldiers and being like, calm down, soldiers, I'll handle this situation personally. They'll just be like, who the fuck are you? Get out of the way and push you into the dirt. Kind of thing. I don't know, we could go with option 4 just to see what happens. I think we can do this because we've got such a good reputation with the army. So it might be a positive thing, actually. I'm willing to try option 4. 4 or 3. I want to see what these two do, basically. They might both be positive because we've got such good relations with the commoners and the peasant and the army. Doesn't 3 and 4 imply you open your identity? Yeah, I think it does, but I don't know how well that will go again. Like, option 1 is brazenly saying that you reveal your identity. Option 2 implies it. Option 3, sorry, and 4 imply it. I'm going to go with option 4. We're going to see if we can calm the soldiers and get them to not slaughter the commoners. Oh, okay, that went pretty... Yeah, because we had good relations with the army, we could do that.
To prevent bloodshed. However, your venture did not yield much benefit, but left you utterly exhausted.
That's absolutely fine. -1 initiative isn't bad at all, actually.
The Priest of Tenebris. The Priest of Tenebris, Heresiarch Severian.
Okay, so in this one...
and sinister figure. As a boy...
In this one, I did the open support, and everyone hated it for some reason. Last time when I did the covert support, only the church didn't like it, so I think we're going to do covert support again.
At first, your covert support...
Oh, okay, good. So that's the best answer, covert support.
But he eventually acknowledged the plan's success. Everyone, from the humblest cobbler to the highest noble, believed the new sect was somehow tied to the cult of Tenebris. The appealing rhetoric of the Red Hoods became less attractive, as fewer people wish to associate themselves with such a group.
Wow, it's really going well, chat. Locust plague. See, again, we can do different things in this because we have a granary. So we can dispatch wagons of seeds and provisions to the village immediately. That's what we did last time. That gives you +2 relations with commoners, but costs like 5 or 6 initiative. We can let the church aid them because we've got good relations with the church. But that will cost us church relations. Option 3, great tragedy, expressing my deepest condolences, does nothing and pisses everyone off. The army protects people not only from the external enemy but also in difficult times of adversity like this. Let the soldiers help. That will decrease our morale, our standing with the army. And this will decrease... So we can either decrease our standing with the church, decrease our standing with the army, decrease our standing with the aristocracy, or pay to increase our standing with the commoners. Our army is +3 at the moment. I think we go with the army because I wanted to keep the initiative to build stuff because it's really useful having plus initiative coming in. So I'm going to go with the army here to because that will probably be -2 on the army, but +2 on the commoners hopefully. So yeah, let's go with that. Oh.
Soldiers are not used to digging fields,
-1 initiative as well.
Planting, but the king's command is absolute. However, how much can this truly help the peasants? The army was unable to share its provisions.
That's fine. So we're at +2 with the commoners, +2 with the army, +1 with the aristocracy, and +1 with the church. Not bad. We only lost 1 initiative from that, which is fine. It would cost like 6 if
a glimpse into the world of thieves.
If you'd paid them, sending wagons and carts of seeds.
The morning got off to a rocky start. You were woken half an hour earlier than expected by Court Falconer Torlo, who had planned to accompany you on a walk through the hunting grounds. However, the pleasant stroll through the cool autumn forest was replaced with urgency. Torlo was delivering a letter from the Holy Father.
Oh, I remember this. Okay, so this guy shows up with a holy relic and asks us to guard it because they're worried it's going to be stolen. Last time we did option 2 because we thought placing it in the solstice in the castle vault and signing double security would be enough to keep it safe. But literally by the next day it was already stolen and you lose relations with the church. So we can either do this, refuse to help the church, which will probably be minus... what's it called? Minus relations with the church, or we can leave it with us. We can keep it on us and personally ensure the relic's safety. But that means an altercation with a thief, which we might not survive. So I'm just going to refuse. We've got a decent standing with the church as it is. I'm just going to refuse him and say, sorry, we can't do that.
There are many ways to show yourself as a heretic in ignoramus. But you chose the most extravagant one.
Okay, so maybe that's the worst option. We'll find out in the next playthrough, I guess. I'll try keeping it on me myself, because that's the only other option to stop it getting stolen. So at -1 with the church, +1 with the aristocracy, +2 with the army, +2 with the commoners.
Night rendezvous. You changed into your night clothes and
we're going to decline this deal. So this random bimbo shows up on your balcony and like tries to not seduce you, but encourage you charmingly into a deal where they will guard they'll guard the artifact. Yeah. So the artifact's been stolen. They can return it for you if you promise them a deal in the future, a favor in the future. We don't want to do that. So we are going to decline the deal.
By morning, you were fully immersed in the affairs of the state, and the nocturnal rendezvous faded from your thoughts.
I don't want to owe anyone favor, basically. Right, what can we build with 12 initiative? We can build the inn, funnily enough, now. I might do that. What else can we build? That's it. Just the inn. Or the armor. What does the armorer do? Ooh, -1 initiative, but it gives you 0.5 defense and 1 standing with the army. I'm going to build the inn because I want the money. I want the initiative coming in. Yeah, let's build the inn. That's 1 initiative every turn. That's quite nice, actually. Because we need more initiative to build more stuff. End the turn. Chat, we're on day 27, turn 7. I don't know how this has happened, but it's going extremely well. The church courts, that could be interesting. There is no saddest story in the world. Castle mutilations we can do. Oh, an alarming report is new. 3 eyes we could do. Let's do 3 eyes and get our standing with the church improved.
3 eyes. Parhelia, a rare phenomenon, graced the skies of the kingdom for the first time in a century. 2 dazzling solar discs flanked the true sun like loyal sentinels. The luminous, ever faithful to their doctrine, interpreted this as a sign of divine purification. 3 suns burn away all sins, like 3 fiery eyes of the celestial judge, they said. News of this event spread like wildfire across the kingdom, and people abandoned their daily lives to embark on pilgrimages. Holy texts prescribed a 3-day and 3-night journey, permitting stops only for rest and cleansing. However, the church was clearly unprepared for such an overwhelming movement. Now you are deep in thought. Should you organize aid for the thousands of pilgrims suddenly taking to the roads, or let them fend for themselves?
Okay, so for this one, if you do May the Radiant Lumen help them, that's basically washing your hands of things again and not taking action. Displeases everyone. If you immediately set up tents along the main routes, feeding all the comers and provide assistance as needed, it sounds really positive, but then there's this negative bit at the end which says, and make sure they remember to praise the king. So I'm not sure how this one plays out. I'm probably going to do option 2 just for science to see what it does. And option 3 is to dispatch 100 or 2 soldiers to maintain orders on the road. That obviously pisses off the army, but improves relations with the church and the commoners. I'm going to go with option 2 to see what it does. I reckon it'll improve relations. I reckon it'll cost us initiative to do, but it will improve relations with the commoners and the army maybe. But it'll not do anything with the church because we're making sure they remember to praise the king. Don't know. Let's try it. No, okay, cool.
In their religious fervor,
It just costs money.
many left their homes without even
initiative.
packing a crust of bread. It is frightening to imagine what could have happened without your decision. Of course, luxuries were out of the question, but every pilgrim received a bowl of stew and a mug of clean water. It cost the treasury, but the benefits were clear.
Yeah, absolutely right, Dimitri. 2 is the best option. Okay, and then we'll do cattle mutilations as well.
Cattle mutilations. Several large peasant farms have sent their representatives to you with an urgent matter.
Oh, it's lucky we have the
Livestock in
herbalist.
the villages is dying massively.
It's lucky we have the herbalist. I forgot that we need initiative to do this one, and we don't have enough. So we have to send the herbalist and see what he can figure it out. See if he can figure it out. Nice.
The herbalist, Engar, was surprised by your order. Of course, he was highly knowledgeable about medicinal plants, but he wasn't a veterinarian. Nevertheless, as it turned out, he was the only one capable of solving the mystery. Somehow, aconite, also known as monkshood, a highly poisonous plant, had found its way into the livestock's feed. The herbalist speculated that this could only have happened intentionally.
Oh dear, so we lost 0.5 health. We gained 1 relations with the commoners. That's good. We're doing really well at the moment. Touch wood. Let's go to the throne room.
The false prophet. Even before your ascent
Okay,
to the
this is new.
throne,
We haven't seen this one yet.
during the reign of Magnus the Heretic, a certain Mani appeared in the kingdom. He proclaimed himself the avatar of Lumen, the true keeper of the pure light. According to Mani's teachings, Tenebris was not an eternally cursed god of evil, but the brother of Lumen, as inseparable as day and night. Evil, he claimed, need not be fought against, for without evil we would have no means to recognize
Oh,
good.
that old chestnut.
A large sect called the Mennonites formed around this charismatic preacher. Magnus the Heretic
That's such a
found the
piss-poor
division within the
argument. I can't
powerful
stand
opposing
it.
Church convenient. Hence, Patriarch and Holy Father Luminarius were forced to tolerate Mani for a time. However, once Magnus the Heretic unexpectedly disappeared, Mani was promptly arrested by church authorities. A lengthy judicial process ensued, deliberately delayed. Over time, without their leader, the Mennonites dwindled to less than 100 followers. That is why the Holy Father Lumiel was not very afraid of Stella Cadence at first. He already had successful experience in fighting sectarians. Today, Manny was sentenced to the highest punishment, life imprisonment in a distant Luminite monastery. The church upheld that life was a supreme value and should not be taken. However, confining someone to a small stone cell for the remainder of their days was deemed acceptable within the dogmas of Luminism. In his final words, Manny appealed directly to you. He begged for release, promising to leave the kingdom and never return. But should you refuse, he requested execution, declaring that a life spent locked away would be the most unbearable torture. The Holy Father Lumiel sent you a note, urging you to disregard the false prophet's final words.
Okay, interesting. I'm not sure how these will affect anything. Obviously, if we let him rot in the cell, that's doing what the church wants. So that'll probably be +1 rep to the church. If we have freedom of religion, release the prophet, that'll obviously piss the church off. But I don't know how else it will affect us. And if we very well release him and ensure he leaves the kingdom, again, that'll piss off the church. But I don't know how it will benefit us at all. If it will benefit us at all. So it's an interesting choice. But yeah, going back to this, I can't stand the whole fucking evil is necessary because without it you can't recognize good. It's such a weak fucking argument. If there was no such thing as evil, there'd be nothing but good, and you wouldn't have to recognize either of them. Everything would just be the same, but it would all be good, if that makes sense. You wouldn't recognize it as good compared to evil. It would just be life. Life would just be the norm, and the norm would be fucking amazing because there'd be no such thing as evil. This is such a piss-poor, weak argument for the existence of evil. I literally can't stand it. I hate it with an absolute passion. Yuri, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. The developer is in the chat. Oh, nice. I hope you finally complete the first act. I've watched the 2 previous episodes. That would be nice. I've restarted so many times. Option 3, says Dimitri. Yeah, I guess. But that will piss off the church, and we're currently at 0 standing with the church. Anyway, Yuri, welcome to the stream, mate. I appreciate you being here, and congrats on making the game. It's a lot of fun. It's a really cool game. We could go option 3, Dimitri, but the problem is the church is already on 0. And this won't affect us beneficially at all. He's just some crazy whack job who's spouting a load of nonsense, a philosophical argument that I personally despise anyway. So I think we let him rot in the cell, quite frankly, and keep the church happy. That's what the church wants. Thank you. Your streams are really interesting to watch. I promise I won't give any hints. I appreciate that. Yeah, in a game like this, no spoilers would be much appreciated. I want to work this out for myself, and I'm glad you enjoy the streams. I hope they're authentic and a good way of judging how the game is received and like a neutral person playing them for the first time. I'm gonna let him rot in the cell because I don't like that argument that he's making, for one, but also the church is on 0 at the moment, and we need to up the relationships with them. Yeah.
Conservative Luminites were pleased with your decision, and Holy Father Lumiel...
Yeah, my conscience isn't going to suffer at all. He's a lunatic spouting absolute drivel that I can't stand, so let him rot.
The only thing that might suffer was your conscience.
Good. Additional earnings. This is all new, chat. We're seeing new content finally.
The streets of the capital buzzed with life. Merchants called out to customers, artisans hammered away at their work, and crowds of townsfolk hurried about their business. Children of both paupers and aristocrats played together in the squares, teasing street musicians. The aroma of freshly baked bread mingled with the scent of spices at the city market. In taverns and inns, laughter, conversations, and the clinking of mugs echoed, while from a nearby temple came the hymns of the Luminites. Valendor thrived in its unique rhythm. Amidst all this bustle was a man whose job was to oversee this corner of the city, the captain of the Champa Market Guard. Captain Torvald, a former veteran of the wars with Cocao and Dalaman, was a lean and muscular figure with sharp features and keen gray eyes. Torvald had maintained order on the market square and in the surrounding quarters for over a decade. His subordinates respected and feared him in equal measure. During your short reign, You had come to appreciate Torvald's worth, acknowledging his ability to maintain peace in the most problematic district of the capital. Yet recently, rumors reached your ears that the captain of the guard had taken additional income by accepting small bribes from merchants and artisans.
Oh, we
in
don't like
exchange
that,
for
chat.
protection. According to informants, the bribes were minor, sometimes merely symbolic.
Oh.
A sack of flour, a few silver coins, or a small token gift. General Bardarian once remarked that if enemies ever decided to lay siege to Valandor, it was fortunate to have a man like Torvald in the city, a dependable presence in dire times. But is it wise to keep a man with a stained reputation, even if he is thrice as useful?
No, this is a difficult choice, guys. First off, though, a few silver coins isn't a minor thing. Jesus was sold for a sack of a few silver coins, so that's quite a big thing in my opinion. But yeah, going back to the game and all this, away from the religious turmoil of my mind, we can dismiss him in disgrace and prosecute him. There's no place for bribe takers in my kingdom. Don't know how that would have. I don't know how any of these are going to affect because we haven't done this decision before. But that seems like quite a harsh response. But then sometimes the harsh response is what people are looking for, and it actually nets you the best result. Allow him to save face, then prepare a worthy replacement, then retire with honor. Seems like a good way of handling it. But it also gets him out of the gets the dependable presence out of the town, out of the city. This has been a custom since the time immemorial. I will not punish a good steed for occasionally fouling the air. Don't know about that. The city guard falls under Bardarian's jurisdiction. Let him handle the subordinate. I think option 4. Option 3, says Dimitri. You want to accept? You just want to let him carry on taking bribes. Maybe. It depends how corrupt he is. Like, if he's really corrupt or if he's just, like, showing favor here or there. I don't like it either, but they all seem like fairly reasonable options apart from the first one. I think we let Bardarian handle it, although Bardarian's going to execute him, isn't he? Although Bardarian's aware of it and he hasn't taken action yet, so he might just ignore it. I think we just let Bardarian do it. It's his jurisdiction, right? Just because we're king doesn't mean we can step in and be like, you need to execute this guard he's accepting. Well, we could because we're king. But I think we just let the general control his own soldiers. So, although that might be seen as weakness, like not handling it ourselves. Oh, this is a tough choice. I don't know which one to go for. Or 4, says Dimitri. I'm going to go with 4 and hope that it's not seen as weakness.
You are unsure what Bardarian did with Captain Torvald.
Okay.
But since then, you have received no further complaints of bribery.
Well, +1 initiative isn't bad. Maybe the other ones would have netted more positive results, but I'll take a +1 initiative.
The refugees. You are traveling with a small retinue from Lucor, a southeastern port city, toward the capital, Valandor. The journey takes you through forests and endless plains. The night before, a heavy rainstorm swept through, and the breeze now carries faint hints of salty sea air and pine. At one of the stops, as the evening calm began to envelop the surroundings, you heard distant voices coming from the road. Approaching cautiously, you spotted a group of refugees, worn and bedraggled, making their way toward your camp. Leading them was an older man with a stern face, a broad beard, and a wide-brimmed hat perfectly suited to the rainy season. Your Grace, he addressed you, immediately recognizing the ruler of the kingdom. We come from the village of Highwood, on the border of your kingdom and the Duchy of Thorn. Duke Tartagger has no love for the Tolmites, and we were forced to leave. You were already aware of the situation. In Thorn, just a few months ago, shortly before your ascension to the throne, a fierce struggle for power ended.
That doesn't sound
the
good,
Duke
Shah.
Tartagor is known
We're going to
as
have
an
to deal with that at
exceptionally
some point, I
ambitious
bet
ruler with a
you.
cunning mind,
The
and he
power
is highly
struggle or the...
intolerant of national minorities.
Yeah.
His dream is to make Thorn great again. Bardarian had even suggested
Great again?
taking advantage of
Like
the
a question?
situation, while the newly minted neighboring ruler had yet to solidify his position by launching a special military operation. You, of course, refused, not out of compassion, but because the moment you attacked Thorn, Kokeo would undoubtedly rush to its aid and vice versa. However, your thoughts returned to the refugees. Offering asylum to a group of impoverished outcasts is no simple matter. The issue touches upon the interests of many factions within the kingdom.
Of course. So we can either get rid of them, just be gone, you fucking peasants. I don't care about your problems. We can find you work in the fields. We need hands for the harvest right now. We cannot abandon people in need. So not abandoning people in need will cost us, I reckon. Cost us quite a lot of money. Option 3. Yeah, I think option 3 is the best option as well, Dimitri. I think if we do option 2, it'll cost us a load of initiative, which I don't want to spend right now. Be gone isn't a good option because it'll make everyone unhappy and pissed off with us, and it's uncharitable. Whereas if we find them work in the fields, that balances out everything. They can help in the fields, they can earn their keep, and they can have somewhere to live.
Despite offering hospitality by providing the refugees with shelter among the villagers and work in the fields, some immediately turned to vagrancy and drunkenness.
Yeah, of course they did.
Settling near affluent homes.
Oh, okay.
There was also a surge in illness among rural residents as the newcomers brought diseases.
Well, yeah, that
However,
happens
many
sometimes.
Colmites were upstanding individuals, and you received letters of thanks from village elders for the excellent workers.
Yeah, great. So we got initiative, we got defense for some reason, I don't know why. Less health and -1 from the aristocrats. Okay. So the aristocracy is back to 0. We need to be careful of that. +2 and +4 on the commoners. I thought the commoners would be happier, but they're happy, but it shows with the initiative we got rather than an improved relation with the commoners. Yuri, are you still in the chat? Sacred Grove. Hey mate, out of curiosity, would you mind just telling me how close we are to the end of Act 1? If it's just like a turn away, then I'll carry on going, but I've been going now for like 3 hours and I need to get some dinner and rest before we stream 1 out of 3. Yeah, Act 1, when does it finish? 33%. So it finishes on turn what? Are we quite... So we're only at 33%, so we still got like 67% to go before the end of Act 3. 110. Turn 110. Oh, hang on. Turn 110 or day 110? It must be day 110, you mean, right? Because turn 110 is fucking miles away. Day 110. Yeah, I thought so. Okay. Thank you for clarifying. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm going to end the stream here, guys. Sorry to say that so abruptly. But yeah, I was thinking of waiting until we got to the end of the first act. But since that's 33% of the way through, which is day 111, which is 70 days or 80 days away from where we are now, I'm going to end the stream here because I've been going for 3 hours and I've got to get some food before we stream Welcome Back, Commander later tonight. But yeah, guys, thank you everyone who hung out today. Thank you for the engagement. Yuri, I appreciate you popping in right at the very end and saying hi and all the work you've done for the game. It's absolutely awesome, so keep up the good work in the updates. Thanks for the stream. Yeah, no problem, my friend. My pleasure. Dimitri, thank you for hanging out, mate, and thank you for all your help and support. Really means the world to me. And yeah, I'll be back in a couple of hours with a stream of Welcome Back, Commander for anyone who's interested in hanging out and checking out that. If not, I'll see you in some other content I produce. I try and make content every single day now, so Salway till next time.